Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Carol Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than red counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Carol Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
It wasn't a promising start for Ireland, who quickly need to find their feet if they're to avoid being brushed aside in this short series. It's a used wicket, so we'll bat, said Andrew Balbirnie, which I thought was quite a brave decision after what happened on Thursday. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Guerrilla Cricket. I'm Guerrilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson, and this is the second ODI at the Ageas Bowl. One more to come. England lead 1-0. And I am joined by men of great wisdom from different parts of the country, probably in lockdown. Is Al? Are you in lockdown, Al, or are you just outside the area?
I am just outside lockdown. Good afternoon, Hendo. Good afternoon, everyone. Are we using the word brave as in the civil service use of the word brave?
I don't know. What is the civil service meaning of the word brave?
Well, the two words to watch for are brave and courageous. Brave means that it will get me fired. Courageous means that it will get us all fired.
Talking of the civil service, did you see that Ponting died the other day? I just read his. Was it Clive Ponting, the man who gave up the secrets of the Belgrano in the Falklands War?
Oh yeah.
Anyone remember him? Not Ricky Ponting, no, Clive. Clive, I think you'll find his name
Ponting,
is. That was the voice of Nestle Boy showing his ignorance of all things politics. In fact, actually, if you'd been here earlier, you would have heard him talking about great things about the American presidency. Good afternoon, Nestlers. How are you feeling? Like the size of your microphone.
Yeah.
I do. I love it. It keeps going. It goes in and out, doesn't it? If you're part of the expression.
It's a magic one. It's a stealth microphone. See, look.
That's why
I I've developed this stealth technology that I'm not allowing anyone else to have.
Are you involved with NASA and the CIA? Just keeping that quiet?
I can't possibly talk about it.
I suppose not. Anyway, the news is Ireland will bat, having won the toss. There is a change per team to the lineups that we saw on Thursday. Into the Ireland team, in place of the injured Barry McCarthy, comes Josh Little, and you will remember him for the 4 for 45 that he took on ODI debut against England at Malahide back, May 2019. It seems so long ago now. But also coming into the England team, more left arm fast bowling in the form of the man who's always been injured, well, at least the last couple of years. Reece Topley is back. What do we make of this, folk? Josh Little and Reece Topley in the same game? That seems unlikely.
Are we gonna put? Is there a wager on how many overs Reece Topley will bowl?
Oh, that would just be too cruel, wouldn't it? That would be sort of the GPL. It would be the Topley prediction league.
Well, it would be if we took the under, but is he more machine than man, held together by double-sided sticky tape and string?
Yeah, not so much the $6 million man as what, I don't know,
$6 man.
50p.
Well, it's funny you say that, because the advert on the Sky coverage there was a RoboCop. He's not quite RoboCop, is he?
He's not. He's a big guy though. He's big, isn't he? He's big. He's had lots of problems with his back. He's had ankle problems. I think he's had a thigh problem as well. There's so much going on in that body that to keep it all in line at the same time is quite an achievement. Let's see. Has anyone joined us on Twitter already today, Nestor?
It is I who's in charge of your. It is I who am in charge of your. What we were upon 5 minutes ago said it's raining. I'm not sure about whether that's where he is, or I mean, there's no sign of.
Oh, it is raining.
There's a couple of spots, but there's players coming onto the pitch. George McPherson, this will be interesting. Let's hope that both teams will be able to make it a decent game today. Jay Grover, afternoon all. Happy Yorkshire Day. I have no idea either. Lovely to hear county cricket again. Let's have a cracker. Dr. Dan Diper has furnished us with a lovely picture, an impression of Amar Verdi in his first over before lunch to Max Holden. I will find a way of getting that retweeted. Messi Jez, evening 12 eyes.
Hi, Messrs. Hello.
Hello, Four Eyes. Assuming you'll give Nestlers some time off when the cup final starts. It is the FA Cup final today.
Remind me. A game played by two middling London clubs in the middle of London. Who wants that nonsense? If only we could have had a Manchester derby, that would have been much better than that. Not another Arsenal-Chelsea final. God.
Pirate Badash takes
lower league gimp.
Anyway,
I thought you weren't interested in football anymore.
Anyway, Pirate Badash says, I take it Al's been watching or listening to Yes Minister. Yes, I have. It's essential viewing. Leah is with us. Hello, Leah. She goes, hello, Gorillas. From Falklands Warfare. I once played a play-by-email game of Harpoon 4.0 against the commander of the English Task Force in that war, Sir Sandy Woodward. I don't know how you play a play-by-email game of Harpoon 4.0. Is that like a write-in version of Battleships? Is that how that works?
Oh, Battleships is quite a decent game. I think I could probably do that if someone reminded me how to play. It's a long while. We played
Battleships on our honeymoon. We went to Santorini, and in the harbour there were all these big cruise ships that came in. So we took a picture every night, and our family gave coordinates, and then depending on where the ships were the following morning. Well,
you can see what attracted the now Mrs. Hotchkiss to Al Hotchkiss on that very basis. Anyway, the man who took 5 wickets for the first time in a one-day international the other day is going to open proceedings. It's going to be it's going to be one of our favourite jingles. Hopefully, it's David Willey.
Wake the bear.
Yeah, sorry, I prodded it. Here it comes.
The people would have had enough of Willie name jokes. His name's Willie. Listen, Gorillas, and you'll hear it isn't so. Oh no.
And about to face his first ball is the man that we all know and love. He's podgy, he's wonderful, he hits the ball hard, and hopefully he's going to get 100 today. It's this man,
won't be getting out. Who am I talking about?
First ball into Paul Sterling, swinging away down the leg side. It's a wide to start with. Now, Paul Sterling seems to have been around forever. He's into his 119th one-day international, scored 4,000 runs, an average of 36. He did start with the Ireland side when he was about 17, I seem to remember. And he was pretty much the same size as he is now. He's no Raheem Cornwall, but he's well built. A slip, 3 men in the ring on the offside, 3 on the onside, a shortish mid-wicket, that is, in there. He aims a drive at the next ball, and is defeated a little bit by the swing as he gets a thick inside edge to the man at mid-wicket. Was trying to give that a bit of a clobber, but you worry about Paul Sterling trying to go too early, in a sense.
That's what he does.
It was the short mid-wicket that did for him in the first.
Yeah.
In the first international, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little chip there to, as we can see on the screen now. Yeah, that was a horrible shot. It was like the top hand came off the handle of the bat there, which is really not good. Sometimes your bottom hand does, but when your top hand does as well, it's very worrying. In again, Bowlesy James a drive at this one that goes across him, and he's beaten once more. So a little bit of a jittery start for Paul Sterling this afternoon. He's out there with Gareth Delaney, who started pretty well in the game on Thursday, but it was strange. I came in and found Ireland were 28 for 2. I sat down, and within about 5 minutes they were 28 for 5, and I thought,
all your fault.
All my fault, absolutely, totally. I'm quite happy to take the responsibility for that. But David Willey, nice to see him getting some wickets. He must have been wretchedly disappointed last year when Jofra Archer came in and snatched his World Cup place from under his nose. In he comes again. That's Pro Sport. They're going to go single here. It goes off an inside edge, thick inside edge out through square leg. Tom Banton, I think it is, comes into field, and Paul Sterling is away. Now facing is this batsman, Gareth Delaney. Ooh, that's all a bit noisy, isn't it? 2 for no wicket. Delaney will face his first ball. Got 22 quite quickly on Thursday before carving to backward point.
He looks about 12, doesn't he, in that picture? It's amazing.
He's quite young looking. He's got a very strange stance, and he leaves the first ball that Willie bowls. Doesn't really swing back into him, goes straight on. It's taken by Bairstow. Yes, he stands there with his bat really high. The most baseball-like stance I've seen from a cricketer for many a year. What would you say, Nestlers? You're a baseball man.
Well, we're seeing quite a lot of this unorthodoxy these days, aren't we? On the with certain batsmen. And that is a very high bat, isn't it?
It is. It really is, and it sort of turns himself around a little bit. Maybe that's because it's the left armour, so he just opens himself up a little bit more. But it is odd. Anyway, here comes Willie into Delaney. Delaney is forward, plays it comfortably enough, good length delivery up towards Adil Rashid at mid-off, and that is not quite the end of the over. There's still one ball to come. Let's have some tweets.
Motley, woof. Afternoon, folks. I thought Hendo had a huge haircut for the moment, then I realised that it was held down or back by the headphones. Love and sausages.
Not just that, I've got the hair clips, I've got the ponytail. I'm rocking a complete wanker from. I'm rocking the look of a complete wanker from Shoreditch.
Ravi Nair wants us not to talk about the football because this is a cricket channel.
Absolutely right. In comes Willie to bowl the final ball of the over. It's right up in the block hole, dug out by Delaney. Ball just pops into the offside, and that is the end of the first over. Ireland have survived it without losing a wicket. They are 2 for none.
I've been asked not to mention the football by one of our American, Mark Zipp, because obviously he wants to watch it later. But I don't think we should be censored from talking about any other sports. That's not how it works.
Not generally, but I mean, when it's Chelsea-Arsenal, I mean, really.
Well, we're not going to go on about it all day, but you can.
Who needs another Chelsea-Arsenal game? That's what I want to say. Who needs?
I just need an Arsenal win. I don't care who play.
Dorian Gray points out that it's good to see the Ireland and England cricketers taking a knee in support of Black Lives Matter. Absolutely, of course it is. But we've got Oh my God! Not only is that the coloured version of the broad headband that Reece Topley is wearing?
Oh, it really is.
It's the Jimmy Anderson.
He looks like something out of Rambo, to be fair. Anyway, he's going to open the bowling. 16 wickets in his ODI career, which has been on hold for quite some time. And this is his jingle, hopefully. After this ball, I tell you what, we'll have his first ball. A much bigger man than David Willey, but bowling in a similar vein into Sterling. Sterling drives. Nice shot from him through mid-off. That should find its way to the boundary. It's being chased by Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali. Neither will get to it. And Sterling has his first boundary.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
You can understand if Reece Topley was to have a bit of a loosener of an over. That certainly was happily received by Sterling, who didn't try to overhit it, just timed it quite nicely. So
he looks like a sort of guy who's replaced an original member in Guns N' Roses behind the drums or something, doesn't he?
Yes. Topley in again, bowls, and this one hits Sterling on the pad. It may have just seemed as he was trying to tickle it into the onside and hit him high up on the right leg. There was just a moment of interest from the slip, but nothing much more. 11 matches Reece Topley has played in ODI cricket. His best performance, a 4 for 50, going back to 2016 when he was just a little boy in nappies of 22.
Porn star moustache.
He's in again, bowls Sterling drives. That's a lovely shot. He's found the gap between extra and mid-off, and that will race away to the boundary to take Paul Sterling to 9. A much better start this from Sterling after he struggled a little bit with those first 3 balls in the Willey over. He seems much more content with Topley. Topley getting no great pace going at the moment, but you have to be aware he's easing his way back into international cricket, into cricket in general, really. Sterling goes down, waits for Topley again, who is in, bowls him a full ball, which he carves away. Wide of the man at backward point, down to third man. That looked distinctly like Liam Plunkett fielding down there at third man, but it can't possibly be because he's no longer in this side. Who was that fielding? Anyone know?
Who is that?
Who is that? Who's that weirdo?
Who was that masked man?
Sterling goes into double figures, 10 from 7. Ireland are 11 for no wicket. It's so exciting. Cricket's coming by the bucket load at the moment. There's a full county championship programme today, and I was delighted to see, and someone may be able to update me on this, but when I looked, Hasib Hamid was 45 not out on his debut for Nottinghamshire. I'm so excited. Could this be the second coming of Hasib Hamid? In comes Topley. Is it going to be his second coming? He bowls to Delaney, and that seemed a little bit quick for him. Gathered pace off the wicket, and he seemed slow to react to that. Delaney goes through to Bairstow, and there is no run.
It's interesting that there seems to be a distinct difference in swing and movement off the pitch between Willey and Topley. Topley's it's been just as quick, 85, 86 miles an hour, but the slightly more what you might describe as regulation, sort of military pace, as opposed to anything that's moving around and causing disturbance.
Yeah, not a lot of movement in the air at the moment. This is defended on the front foot. Straight delivery, good length. Moeen Ali fields. End of the over. 2 gone. Ireland 11 for no wicket. Al.
Okay, Leah turns around and tells us that Harpoon 4.0 is a bit more complex than battleships. It's a simulation used by Tom Clancy to simulate the operations described in The Hunt for Red October. Mark Zipp is with us, morning all. Reminder, if you absolutely have to talk about the football, please remind us so that we can go la 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 really loudly and drown us out. Planning to watch the game much later this evening. Mog, and can you not mention the soccer because it's soccer and therefore shit game played by people who really aren't good enough to play a real sport like cricket. Messi Jez turns around and says things you wouldn't expect to hear on Guerrilla Cricket 235. I am rocking the look of a complete wanker from Shoreditch. Peter Ward, football, you say the minor intersequential provincial game down south that will be eclipsed somewhat by the Tayside derby of the season.
Willey starts a new over, and again, Paul Sterling is trying to drive through the offside, and Willey won't mind that because if he can get that to come back, he's going to find that gap between bat and pad. Again, he got a really thick inside edge and dragged it into the onside and was quite annoyed with himself. Grimaced somewhat. Now practicing that shot again.
He's not gonna move his front foot, is he?
No, he's I think the trouble with Sterling is maybe because he is quite a good hitter of the ball. He does try to hit the ball too hard sometimes. Just needs to concentrate a little bit more on his technique. In comes Willie Bowles, hits him in the manly accoutrements as he tried to play that onto the onside. He goes for a little wander to kind of take the pain out of that. Did anyone see that horrendous story yesterday about the man who grew a penis on his arm?
Why?
What?
He lost it. It fell off. Apparently, it fell off. So he didn't actually grow it. It was the surgeons that grew it, and he's had it on his arm. He's had it on his arm for 4 years, and now he's going to have it reattached. Anyway, here comes Willie, talking of such things. Bowls down the wicket comes Sterling, tries to guide that into the onside when he finds he's not quite at the pitch of the ball, and it rebounds away towards slip.
You can't segue from that into anything. What on earth he took?
What do you mean his original penis fell off?
Apparently so. I mean, I had to...
fell off?
It just fell off because of
it's been a while since I studied biology. But
some sort of infection. It did. You Google it now. You Google it. You will find it.
I am on my work's laptop. There are things I am not Googling.
Willie turns again, runs past the umpire, bowls to Sterling. Sterling's beaten on the outside edge, playing for a bit of swing that wasn't there. That nipped through quite nicely at waist height. 85 miles an hour. 11 for no wicket is the score. I tell you the absolute truth. I was working yesterday, and the story that came up in my basket was about this man. And having sort of read it, I decided to move on to another story.
You would expect broadsheets to do more than this, wouldn't you?
This wasn't a broad. This is technically it's a tabloid, but it's a very good tabloid.
Where on the arm did they grow it, Hendo?
On his forearm. Anyway, in comes Willie, bowls, and this time Sterling leaves the ball outside the off stump, and it goes through the keeper. Sterling has 10. Delaney yet to score. Ireland are 11 for no wicket.
Because we're particular about our tabloids up in this part of the world.
Well, absolutely, and so you should be. But I mean, I'd have thought that Nestle Boy, as a man who loves a good headline, you'd have been all over this.
Didn't see anything on the internet.
Well, it's on the
yesterday
internet. It was. It's in most of the papers today. I think you'll find it's quite a horrifying story. Actually, it is quite genuinely terrifying. In comes Willie, bowls. The ball comes back into Sterling, who watches it very closely. Bat and pad close together, pushes firmly up to mid-off. That is the end of the over. Of the 3, Ireland have advanced to 11 for no wicket.
Okay, let's have a couple more people who are joining us on Twitter. Ravi Nair thinks that the majestic Paul Sterling looks more like a spin bowler, one who finishes someone else's over in emergency than an opening bat. Neymar Butlins, hello Neymar Butlins. I play golf with a punk rock guitarist who says no lives matter. Discuss. Cole from Viking Bay watching Kent versus Essex, listening to Guerrilla Cricket to find out whether the MS Dhoni rumours are true. Not sure about that.
I haven't heard any rumours about MS Dhoni, but someone can enlighten us on that.
Yeah.
Topley will start his second over, 9 from his first. He's going to be bowling to Gareth Delaney, yet to score.
We'll also say hello to some people from Cricket Tracker after this ball as well.
Delaney looked like he was going to score there because he played a rather confident shot to a good length ball, but found the man at cover point, so there is no run.
Okay, Azmat Jan, Vijay Zigdabni, Harsha Sadhu, Sunny Waha. Hello, we are on Cricket Tracker. Join us and we'll read your comments.
Oh, and don't forget, of course, Hot Mic. We'll be on Hot Mic, won't we? In comes Topley, bowls across the right-handed Delaney. Delaney leaves this one. There's an element of more caution in the Ireland batting so far today. They went off with a bit of a rush on Thursday and found themselves in trouble a little bit too quickly. Made a game of it in the end, a little bit anyway, and bowled quite well, certainly in the early stages, the England reply. But they need to put a lot more on the board if they're going to test this England side, even if it's not a full-strength one. In comes Topley, bowls to Delaney. Delaney plays at that outside the off stump. It moves away and beats him. It's taken low down by Bairstow, diving to his right, and there is no run.
The guy with the extra penis is called Malcolm McDonald.
Yes, that's right. That's right. not the one that you and I used to know. He scored 5 goals against Cyprus. It is indeed Malcolm McDonald. You found it then, Nestlers.
Superman.
Well, some people have tweeted in with regards to it.
We'll come back to that in a minute. In comes Topley to Delaney. Has a very high grip on the bat. That's the other extraordinary thing about his stance. This is defended into the offside, and there is no run. When you see Topley like this, you feel like he's bowling a little bit within himself. Perhaps he's worried to overstrain himself at this stage. But he's quite a unit. He's quite a unit, isn't he? And you think with the left arm angle that he produces, you think he would be useful to England in the future if he can stay injury free.
I want Topley and Broad to bowl in the same team again, and because it would definitely be Cobra Kai versus Daniel Sand from the Karate Kid with these matching headbands.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Here comes Topley into Delaney. Delaney's onto the back foot. This one just short of a length, plays it into the covers, and there is no run. 5 dot balls from this over.
You get to a certain age where some cultural references just go completely over your head, don't they, Hendo?
Absolutely. I mean, any music from sort of 1995 onwards, I don't even. I've heard of these people, Beyonce and one or two of these people, but I don't know anything they do.
Beyonce Z.
Ed Sheeran, for good. Don't get me going on him again. In bowls to Delaney, a rising delivery, gets his bat even higher than it starts. Out of the way. It's a maiden well bowled, Reece Topley. Ireland after 4 are 11 for no wickets.
Right, let's get some people. Jay Grover, Irrational Cricket Hatreds 359. Reece Topley. I've no idea why, possibly because his dad's a knob, sins of the father and all. Crispy, that arm appendage story really sounds like the setup for a joke. I know. I mean, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Mayank, morning everyone. Good things these ODIs are day-night, which means I can wake up at 9 a.m. here and not miss any cricket. Message S has no words about the man with the penis on his arm story. Jay Grover, Hendo sub-editing stories about men growing penises on their arms. It sounds like our day jobs are not that dissimilar after all.
No, that's absolutely right, Jay, yes.
Neymar Butlins thinks that Danny Mills grew a penis on his head when he became a BBC pundit. Sorry for the football tape. Tony Cork, well, I've heard of cocked his fist, but this is definitely a new one.
Sterling is beaten by the first ball of Willie's third over. And it goes through to Bairstow. There is no run. What really made me even more astonished by this story was that there was a picture with him, with his arm shown, and with the appendage attached. But the appendage was pixelated out.
It still is.
Oh, is it still? Oh my word! It's extraordinary, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, you can't. Well, you know, if you're going to grow a penis on your arm, I mean, surely people should be able to see it. Willie in again, bowls. Sterling drives, drags it into the onside towards mid-wicket, and there is again no run. He's very annoyed with himself. Sterling dragging the ball too much into the onside at the moment.
For comedy value, you grow your penis on underneath your armpit, don't you?
On your forehead.
Yeah, on your forehead would be better.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where Trump needs to grow his.
Mog turns around and says, "Gorilla cricket, you're home for all growing a cock on your arm news."
Absolutely. I can guarantee you won't have got that on Test Match Special.
Well, I have so many questions. So many questions,
so little time. Willie in. This one does move into Sterling, into his pads, and he's able to turn it away past the square leg umpire for an easy single. Billings comes in off the fence to do the fielding. 12 for no wicket.
Is it fully functioning?
Well, I think that's the plan. I think the plan is that when it's reattached to where it's supposed to be. What gets me is, how can this bloke have been wandering around without one for 4 years while it's been growing on his arm? I mean, you know, you get into all sorts of gynecological things here, don't you? You start to wonder about, how did he keep it covered when he went out? I mean, wouldn't people see...
With long sleeve shirts.
Yeah, but, you know, hang on, but it's standing up off his arm.
Is it?
Yes.
I think it's being grown at 90 degrees, Henry.
Yes, it is. Here comes Willie again. Balls. Did Delaney hit on the pad? That's worth a shout, and he could be out. He is out. He's given LBW Delaney a shame for him. Just a little bit late on that one. It swung back into him. I suppose there's a chance that he might review it. It might be high. That would be the only thing, I think.
He might review it on height here.
He's going to have to hurry up. He's going to have to go. It's too late now. He's too late. He's got to go now. He's got to go. Got to go. And
no.
Is he gone? I don't know, but he has gone. Yes, he is now going. Having realised that he's taken more than the required 15 seconds, he's off. Let's have a little look at this. It's pitching in line, looks pretty good. Hits the back leg, that's the killer. Yeah, I think that's pretty adjacent. And Willie has his 6th wicket of the series. Would have hit the top of middle stump. And so Delaney runs away.
And take a high
Yeah, he's on his way, I'm afraid. Didn't get off the mark today, was trying his best and batted for 12 balls. The bowling had been pretty tight, and that was just a good ball. I think that's what you have to say. You've been done by a bowler who's in a little bit of form and has those skills. Bring the ball back into you. Anyway, more tweets.
Subtle Knife is disgusted with your lack of pop culture references. It's the Karate Kid from 1984. For fuck's sake. Motley, I wonder if he got angry if he flipped people off. This hashtag penis arm. Derek Wills, morning from the beach. We've got a hurricane coming in a couple of days, but cricket comes before any prep. Stay safe, Derek Wills. Testy test. No wonder the ECB have had to make weird new competitions if the average fan treats Beyonce as if they were a mythical creature. Tony Bishop, like a flu jab, just a little prick on the arm.
Oh, very good, Tony. Hey, he'll be here later. Balbirnie has come to the crease, and Willie is into him. He's onto the back foot, the Ireland captain. He's going to take a quick single as he pushes up to the left of mid-off, where Moeen Ali runs round to field, fires in at the non-striker's end, but no real chance of a run-out. So Balbirnie off and running. Probably Ireland's two of their most experienced players. There's always Kevin O'Brien to come, who's probably the most experienced. They're now 13 for 1 ball remaining in the fifth over.
Do you have any chance they do not need to lose another wicket in quick time here?
Absolutely.
They've got to stay in and score runs.
Yeah, and they showed that they could do it the other day when Camphor stuck in, and of course McBride late in the innings, he batted really well. I thought Sterling aims a drive at this one, is beaten by the one that doesn't come back, and Willie gives him a long, hard stare. End of the over. After 5, Ireland, having chosen to bat, are 13 for 1.
Muttley, is that a banana up your sleeve?
Or are you just
there's going to be a lot of this that goes on, I think, all the way through.
Yep.
There's been some tweeting and retweeting of the aforementioned picture. People are asking for the less blurry version. Mog is asking for that. Motley says, does he wash his hands after going to the toilet? And Pirate Badash just quite simply says, damn. Which I think probably sums up that whole conversation.
Probably does. We're just seeing some scores from the Bob Willis Trophy, the new Bob Willis Trophy. Did you see Bob Willis's wife had made the trophy, or designed the trophy for that? And it's a really nice, almost angular, Picasso-like representation of Bob Willis bowling. This is played into the offside as Topley starts his third over. Nottinghamshire have lost 2 wickets now. I hope one of them isn't Hasib Hamid. Please tell me it isn't.
Do we think that the county championship will be renamed and they will give the Bob Willis Trophy?
That's a good question, isn't it? That's a good question. I suppose it depends how COVID develops over the years. I mean, if we're going to have to not play cricket for the first 3 months of every season, possible. Driven by Balbirnie, but he's picked out Billings at extra cover, and there is no run. Yes, Hot Mic. Please get on to Hot Mic. You can find us on hotmic.io. If you download the app using the GC Radio as your code, you will be able to sync it, in fact, with our commentary on your TV, which is absolutely brilliant. And most people who've done that say it is fantastic. And every time anyone does that, as Topley comes in to Balbirnie has a little fetch at this outside the off stump, is beaten by it as it fades away from him. Low down, Bairstow grasps it, and there is no run. Yes, Hot Mic, use the code GC Radio, download that, and every time anyone does that, we get $1, and it doesn't cost you a thing. So just think, if all of our followers were to do that, that would make us $15,000 just straight up.
You don't even have to use it.
Don't even have to use it. But yes, you should. Topley in bowls, and Balbirnie will take a single here as he strokes this into the onside off the back foot, really just with the top hand, essaying that sort of shot, and maybe took a bit of a rap high up. He's taken his glove off and seems to be in a bit of discomfort. Ireland move on to 14 for 1, brings Sterling down to face Topley.
Given that Topley's 0 for 10 after 2.4 overs, but 2 of those balls went for 4. He's been right back on it, hasn't he?
He's been on the money since those, hasn't he? Yeah, absolutely, I agree. It was Sterling, of course, who put those balls away, and it is Sterling to face now. Let's see what this contest brings. In comes Topley, bowls. Sterling, well, he pulls his bat inside the line of that one, trying to convince us that he wasn't actually playing it. I'm not entirely convinced. It was a good ball. It's rising really well through to the keeper. He's getting good carry, is Topley.
How old is Topley?
26.
Oh,
So he's been around, but...
well, he's not old. I mean,
no, he's not old at all, because he got into the England side quite young. But of course, fast bowlers don't last forever, so these would be really his peak years in the next 3 or 4 years. Sterling plays this one off his hip into the onside. James Vince goes around the field, and they take a single. Vince.
Try telling that to Jimmy Anderson.
Well, yes, true. Yeah, but I mean, I think probably Jimmy, despite his recent injury problems, has been a lot fitter than Reece Topley at the start of his career.
Yes.
James Vince, why do we keep giving James Vince another go? It was so obvious the other day, wasn't it? He's played his lovely shots to get to 25, and then he tries to drive one that isn't there for the drive and gets caught behind. Awful shot. What are we learning by continuing to put James Vince in the team? I just thought that I was
injured.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, really? Is Vince...
denying a youth player, are you?
Well, possibly.
You know.
Anyway, we are missing a few players, aren't we? We have to say that. Anyway, here comes Willie to start his 4th over. Just the one slip. He's into Sterling, and Sterling drives aerial in. He's caught at backward point. That was a poor shot from Sterling, and Ireland find themselves in all sorts of trouble again. They're 15 for 2. He's gone for 12. And I do believe it is it Banton who's taken the catch there? I think it might have been.
What a tremendous catch it was.
Was a good catch, but not a great shot.
Oh, shit. This is really fucking bad.
On your bike, mate.
I must say that much as I love Ireland and want to see them do well, my heart did sink a little bit when I heard they'd won the toss and decided to bat. They've opted for a different approach, but they find themselves in the same position. They've got stuck a little bit, and now into the 7th over they find themselves 15 for 2, and off wanders one of their big hitters.
I think that's an execution of a strategy, wasn't it? They were like, he will eventually get himself out, Sterling.
Well, Sterling looks like he was determined to get himself out all morning, all afternoon, rather.
Played a couple of nice shots, but otherwise didn't really look at the races. As out to the middle comes the new Ireland batsman, and Balbirnie has just wandered up to have a word. It is Tector, and here's a jingle that goes, hopefully, if the Bear's paying attention, like this. Indeed, it is Harry Tector, who has got one List A 100 for... is that's not for Ireland, is it? That's just his List A career. Hasn't played very much for the national team yet. Here comes Willie in to Tector, who is waiting, and then stands there still waiting, because when Willie gets to the crease, he realises that he's got his run up horribly wrong and decides not to bowl some piece of filth. Instead, wanders back to his mark.
Bit premature there from him.
Yeah, very good.
Lord of me hoop. For anyone watching around the world, Ireland are taking to the field today without their 3 best seamers, plus of course the retirement of Tim Murtagh against the world champions in their own backyard. Easy.
Willie in bowls what looked like a little bit of an off-cutter that pitched outside leg. Tector tried to turn it into the onside, made no contact and ran off his thigh, and there is no run. So another more success for Willie. The wickets are coming at a rate for him at the moment in this series. He'll be very happy with that.
Nice catch.
It was a very nice catch by Banton, diving away to his left. Just not fully extended, but certainly on one leg really, as he tried to get across to that. So Willie has the ball back in his hands. He's got figures of 2 for 4 to go with his 5 for 30. So what's that? That's 7 for 34. So he's averaging 4.5 against Ireland at the moment. He's in again. Bowls to Tector. Tector aims a drive at this outside the off stump. He's beaten and taken by Bairstow. There is no run. I'm told that Tector's List A century was against Sri Lanka A in Sri Lanka back at the start of 2019, and I can only tell you that because for some reason I've actually picked up the tweets. I don't know why I'm looking at the tweets. Shouldn't be me. That's your job, Al. But I just saw that at the top of the tweets, so I will give you that little piece of information. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, Pirate Badash, who also says that he doesn't think Brave is paying off.
Doesn't think what's paying off?
Brave,
as in
the Brave
deciding
decision.
to bat. Yeah. Tector then waits for Willie, who is in, and he leaves this one, which is wider outside the off stump, having a little look at it, and why not? If you're seeing a bowler for the first or second time, it's worth being able to watch the ball go past a few times if you can. Takes off his helmet, revealing blonde hair. He really does look like something out of Rambo, doesn't he, Topley?
Or that idiot, Russell Brand.
Oh, he's a bit like Russell Brand. He's not quite as well. I don't know.
I think he's probably quite popular with the ladies, though.
Who, Reece Topley or Russell Brand?
Topley.
Willie in bowls, driven but straight to the man at covers, James Vince, and he hurls the ball back to Bairstow. There is no run. Well, he was going out with quite a famous tennis player, wasn't he, Nestlers? Was it Svitolina that he went out? He went out with Svitolina.
Oh, well, there you go then.
I don't think he is now, but for a couple of years he was. So, yeah. I don't know how their paths crossed. It's a curious one, isn't it? I don't imagine that she was...
Rich people have a book.
Oh, is that what it is? Is he rich or is she rich? Well, she would be rich. I'm not sure he is. Down the leg side, clipped away and misfielded by a diving Rashid on the 45. Will at least provide some relief for Ireland, who get a couple of runs. Tector is off the mark. 7 overs have been bowled, and Ireland are 17 for 2. More tweets.
Leia, fast bowlers don't last forever. 2 minutes after talking about the late great Grumble, poor taste, Hendo. Mog, for fuck's sake, Ireland, a game I can actually stay up and listen to, and I'm already into fucking blooding. Obnoxious Brian is back again. Turns around and says, gee, thanks Messi, my life is complete. I think it's because Messi Jez had turned around and tweeted the picture of a man with a penis on his arm. Messi Jez, Shoreditch shave. Mog is trying. Mog, is Hendo trying to rock a beard, or are they just crepuscular shadows in his room?
Oh, that's a very difficult question to answer. It's just because I'm lazy. Onto the back foot goes Balbirnie to the first ball of a new over from Topley. Defends it into the offside. There is no run.
Apologies for that. Messi just says that's why he responded. It's Shoreditch shave. Mog wants you to never mention Russell Brand again.
Well, I'm happy with that. I'll go
Russell
along
Brand.
with that. I don't like him very much. Anyway, here comes Topley bowls. Comes off thick outside edge as Balbirnie plays forward all the way along the ground to backward point. What is that making that weird noise in the background, Bear? That
I don't know.
Whoop, whoop. What is it, Bear? Tell us.
You really want to know? I'm
Yeah,
having
go
a
on.
chat with Skylar at Hot Mic because someone's having problems syncing, and I'm just asking him a couple of questions, and every time he gets back to me, there's a blip blip.
Can't you turn your sound off?
It's supposed to be. It is off, actually. I don't know why that comes through. But anyway, I'm going to go now because I'm going to stop talking to him.
Topley in, bowls to Balbirnie. Balbirnie leaves this one outside the off stump. Pretty regular, 85 miles an hour, but he does get good bounce off a length, does Topley, and good carry on this pitch through to the wicket keeper. I've been quite impressed with him so far, I have to say.
Yeah,
You're
I think
right about the girlfriend. I just looked it up.
It's Svitolina, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is she Russian or is she Belarusian or is she something else? I can't remember.
Ukraine.
Ukrainian. Okay. Onto the front foot comes Balbirnie. He's looking for the single, but Topley was rather in his way there. Had to find his way round him, and Moen was perhaps a little bit slow to realise there might have been a run-out opportunity there. Anyway, he's safely at the other end, Balbirnie, and Ireland have moved to 18 for 2. Tector has 2, Balbirnie has 3.
Who has right away in that position?
The bowler, I think. The bowler doesn't have to get out of the way of the batsman. And to be fair, the batsman was running up the middle of the pitch a little bit. Should have probably gone wider. But yes, I mean, if he'd been run out there, he couldn't have really complained. Unless, of course, the bowler deliberately gets in your way and in an obvious way. We saw that, didn't we? What was that controversial moment? Wasn't it England-New Zealand with side bottom? Collingwood was captaining England. This is a drive aimed by Tector. It looked a perfectly good shot. Trouble was he made no contact. It goes through the keeper, and there is no run. 88 miles an hour, that one. He does seem to get good pace with. Really, he's not putting a lot of effort in, is he? You wonder why he's suffered all these stress fractures. He doesn't seem to have to put too much into his game to actually bowl well.
Maybe it's the injuries that have caused a refinement to technique.
That could be true. That could be true.
Brief question for you: who's she going out with now, Hendo?
No idea. Topley bowls to Tector, who tries to drive, gets a bit of a thick inside edge up to Adil Rashid at mid-on, and that is the end of the 8th over. Ireland have moved rather slowly to 18 for 2. Tector has 2, Balbirnie has 3.
Gail Monfils.
There you go. She's going out with Gail Monfils. He's not a very good cricketer, though, is he? He's not a very good cricketer. Fantastic tennis player, but not very good with the bat in his hand.
Leia says her plans for the evening are rapidly turning into my plans for a latish afternoon. There's a plan. There's a picture of a Xbox game, Rogue Trooper.
I suppose if we were being cruel, we could say that this might be over by the time of the FA Cup final. But you would hope that Ireland have made a sterner stuff. They've got Balbirnie, their captain, at the crease at the moment. He's about to face Willie. He's got 2 for 6 from his first 4 overs, and he's running in again. Left arm over the wicket. Bowls a beauty that comes back between bat and pad, and climbs a bit too high to take out the middle stump, but it was a lovely delivery nonetheless.
He's got a right to look a little bit more annoyed there, David Willey. It's gone right through the gate and right over the top of middle and off stump, that one.
Yep.
That is a beautiful delivery.
It was a peach. It was a peach. It was a Jaffa.
He's looked good. He's looked good this morning. This afternoon.
There is a vast yawning chasm, though, between the body and the bat of Mr. Balbirnie.
Yeah, it wasn't a great shot, was it? In comes Willie again, bowls, he drives again, but the ball's just not coming on for him at the moment, and he drags that up to mid-on, was looking to play that into the offside. Again, there is no run. A real struggle it's become after a couple of quick boundaries from Paul Sterling early on. England's bowlers have really found their radar, their range, and Ireland are having to work very hard to get anything at the moment. So Balbirnie settles down again, waits for Willie to come in over the wicket. Still got the slip in. He's in, he bowls, and he defends on the front foot. He's going to take a quick single. Moeen Ali shifting away to his left at mid-off. And Ireland move to 19 for 2. More tweets.
We are up to date on tweets.
For those interested, big off in qualifying for Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone.
I'm not interested. I hate.
I said for those.
Well,
you hate everything.
I don't hate everything. I like I like cricket. I like football, and I like tennis, and I can put up with golf from time to time. Otherwise, I'm not that interested, to be honest. Willie, which is not bad for a sports journalist, beaten Tector by this one outside the off stump. They've played and missed quite a bit, haven't they?
Well, there's been some lovely looking theoretical drives, hasn't there?
There have been some, yes, some great theoretical drives, which sounds something from quantum physics, but it isn't. Yes, if they'd actually made contact, they would have been very good shots. But at the moment, they're struggling to feel the ball on the middle of the bat.
If they'd made contact, it would have been Ireland would be about 141 for 2.
Maybe. Tector waits, the bat aloft, in comes Willie, he drives, that's a nice shot as well, but it's straight to Moeen Ali at mid-off.
Isn't there a sketch by the two Ronnies where he answers the question before last?
Yeah.
So this is an innings made entirely of people who were playing at the ball before.
That could be what it is, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a brilliant sketch. You don't get comedy like that these days, do you? You don't get that clever, really clever comedy, I don't think. Wordy and literate. Anyway, Willie comes in to complete his 5th over, bowls. It's left alone by Tector. Bounces a second time on the way through to Bairstow to keep low. But that is the end. Just a single from it. Ireland, after 9 in the first power play, the important power play, are 19 for 2, just at what, 2.1, 2.5 and over.
Yeah. Subtle Knife says that my plans for tonight include a Scissor Sisters live concert from 2007, which again, I'm assuming in the great scheme of everything past 1995 has probably kind of passed you by, Endo.
I have heard of them. In fact, I think I may have seen them actually performing at Glastonbury on one occasion. Obviously, I wasn't at Glastonbury. That would be ridiculous.
I was going to say, so what was,
you're middle-aged, middle class, and from Wimbledon.
Yeah, I would have expected someone else to put up your tent for you.
Listen. I prefer my pleasures taken in more hygienic environments than pissing in fields. Topley is in, bowls to Balbirnie, who defends, and Topley extends himself really by swooping for that. He could have done himself another bit of damage in doing so. You should leave those alone, I think. I think you should leave those alone, to be honest. There's nothing much to be gained. He might save a single, but that's all. Anyway, Balbirnie's having a good look around to see whether there are any gaps in the field that he can exploit. He's made 4 from 13 deliveries.
Have we got a change coming up?
Yep. Tony should be arriving. Nestlers is staying put. In he is again. This has worked off his legs. Straight to Vince at mid-wicket. So when they do find the middle of the bat, they're also picking out the fielders, which is a good notch for Morgan, that he's got men in the right places. And Topley wanders back to his mark. There's something a bit Lillyish about Topley, do you think? A bit Lillyish?
Yeah, it's not very cool.
Maybe much bigger.
He liked to headband, didn't he?
He did indeed. In comes Topley, bowls a full ball driven, and he stops this with his right hand in his follow through to prevent Balbirnie taking advantage. The score remains 19 for 2. The run rate is exactly 2 and over. It's not what you want in a one-day international. It's really tough going for Ireland after they won the toss playing on the same pitch that they used on Thursday. And Ireland have only advanced to 19 for 2. They've lost Delaney and Sterling, much to our displeasure. In comes Topley, bowls outside the off stump, tries to cut, doesn't really time the ball. Banton moves in from square of the wicket to field, and again there is no run. It now has dropped down beneath 2 and over. This is really good bowling from Topley, who hasn't actually picked up a wicket, but he's been very economical, very difficult to get away.
Ravinair tries to make a point about none of England's recent Test 11 is in the ODI series. Is this a sign of arrogance, bench strength, or all of the above? It's a sign of biosecurity, I think, more than anything else. I have a Hamid update for you as well, Hendo.
Oh, good. Driven by Balbirnie. Is this going to be runs? Well, it's going to be one, I think, as Moeen Ali dives away to his left to prevent that running away to the boundary. They do get through for the single. Balbirnie moves to 5 and Ireland to 20 for 2.
Derek Wills, Hamid is 64 not out.
Oh yes, come on, man! Now we want some competition for places at the top of the England order, don't we? And
we do.
Hamid can recover the form of 3 years ago, then that would be magnificent. Topley in to complete his 5th over, bowls to Tector. Tector punches the ball straight up to mid-on. Rashid fields, and that is the end of the power play. Ireland have moved to 20 for 2. Tector has 2, Balbirnie has 5, and after a few more tweets from Al Hotch, it'll be time for the Bish, Tony Bishop.
Mark says you still get witty and erudite comedy on this channel, Hendo, as those earlier dick jokes demonstrated. Neymar Butlins is thinking of forming a hipster niche company for making cricket boxes for your arm. So Testy Test retweets a fun fact that Syrian Beefy Botham lives in Almeria, Spain. To take up his Lord's seat, he'll have to be ordinarily resident in the UK. So he'll lose his transition agreement protected Spanish transition rights. That'll be nice. Messages, oh dear Hendo, when you start saying they don't make them like they used to anymore, do they? It reminds you of it ain't half hot, mum.
Your ball, Tone. Have you frozen? No, Tone's frozen. It was a wide down the leg side. I shall intervene there then, and we have an extra.
Are you going to intervene?
I've just got a really inane face on Tony's frozen. It's sort of dull grin on his face, like he's looking pretty vacant. If you can hear me, Tony, it's quite funny.
Looks like he's just passed a particularly foul fart. And he's waiting for everyone else to react.
The sly grin. I'm going to bring myself in the picture. Nice drive straight down the ground by Balbirnie, who I've got under 26.5. The Bastards of the betting company. He's going to pick himself up 4 runs. It's one of these.
2 + 2 is on
The betting company aren't offering me unders on the fall of the next wicket, so I had to go under the batsman. It's very annoying.
Do you want me to stick with you until?
Yeah, you might as well stick with us until he turns up. Sorry. I'm trying to edit pictures here whilst I go. That's the problem with trying to do it all from here. Tony B. That's defended back down the track as Willie continues. I thought he might take them off actually and switch to Moeen and Adil Rashid for a whole 20 over run. It'd be about normal, wouldn't it?
Do you think they'd let them just twiddle through 20 overs straight?
Nah, they've got to keep some back. You can't expect to roll them over.
I mean Moeen and Adil.
Yeah, I think it's worth. I mean, usually they'll try and get through to about 18, 17, 15, 16, 17, 18 overs and then bowl them for 20 overs. And if they come off, that takes them right up to the 40s and then you just bring back the fast boys. And usually they slow stuff down. Nice drive this time by Balbirnie up to mid-on. He'll only get a singles. You can't beat the man there. But I mean,
the only problem about doing that is that you end up with 10 overs and you've got a 5th bowler to use who you can't bowl from both ends.
That's true. Obviously. But I'll try and fiddle a few overs now, won't they?
Might do.
I would. They're only going at 2.48
and
over. Don't look like smashing it out of the park, do they?
Well, true enough.
Tony's back. We're going to have to let him in. Hold on. Good old tech probs, eh? Tector's speaking to himself. And Willie is in. And it's just played out into the covers. Wide enough. Of mid-off, where Moeen has to go around the field.
All right. I will concede. I yield to Mr. Bishop.
Okay. See you later.
Order.
All right, Tone.
I'm here. Yes, I don't know what happened. Everything disappeared.
You froze with a really inane look on your face.
Well, that could have been at any single point during most of my life, but there we go. 27 for 2. Harry Tector looking a little more solid on 3. Balbirnie on 10. Willie again 2 for 14. Carrying on very much where he left off, really, from 2 days ago, as he's in around the wicket. And that one speared in at the pads as well. Yes, it seemed to be all sorts of things happening this morning as I was listening in. I heard mention of quantum physics, the 2 Ronnies, a man with a Willie on his arm, and 2 wickets for indeed Willie. So, I mean, all sorts of shenanigans have been occurring this morning.
It's a broad church, bitch.
Pure old men's humour, yes.
Old men's humour.
Well, I was driving in the car and I heard that story on the radio yesterday. It's quite mad, isn't it?
It was extraordinary. Willie in again. And that one's played towards mid-on. Softly enough by Balbirnie, who's 10 not out. He needs some runs. He's not been in the most magnificent of form. It's the end of the over.
I think I've got him under 26.5.
Let me get some messages from YouTube.
Perfect.
Dandy Castro, S. Durga Prasad, John Watts, Tersha Roy. Will the IPL be live? Well, we'll be covering it. And Finlow Paish. Morning, Gorillas. Thanks for the coverage. Sounds like you're still not swearing, not saying. Well, bollocks to that.
Bollocks to that. Fuck off. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Are you happy now? We're not on St. Lucia FM, I take it, anymore.
No, and actually that fell apart very quickly. Let's be honest. We didn't get any complaints. And you know what? If someone's going to take our feed and not really let us know that they're taking it, they get what they're given.
Yeah. They get what they take.
We may just be on ever so slightly dicky ground there, Bear. So let's not,
I don't think so.
That argument too hard.
They didn't ask for permission, did they?
This is true. Moeen Ali, we're going to have a change of bowling.
Here we go.
Wicketless, but effective. More used, I think, somehow these days, more in the role of restrictor of runs than dangerous wicket taker seems to be the case. But we'll see. He has a slip in place. Give this one plenty of air. And young Tector who's looking a different prospect. Admittedly, he's only made 3 or 13, but he pushes us away into the offside, and there is no run. He did look so lost, and just about every ball seemed to be too good for him in his brief innings 2 days ago. But he's onto the back foot here, nudges this to mid-wicket.
Well, it is different gravy, isn't it? Anyway, let me get a jingle in for Mo, quickly.
Our beard shouldn't touch. Move over.
Always does have to be quick for Mo because he doesn't hang about. He's in again onto the back foot. Again goes Tector. And in fact, it could easily have been the ball before because he was onto the back foot. It was pushed to mid-wicket. And hard to tell them apart.
Yeah, they struggle, don't they? Just manoeuvring the ball around.
Ali again. This time nicely played though to point. Easy. No real effort, but he just got foot to the pitch of the ball. I'll get there in the end. Steered it to point and got himself a single. Brings captain Andy Balbirnie back onto strike. 2 balls left for Moeen Ali, and he comes. This one breaks in to Balbirnie. Just plays it comfortably enough. No run. 28 for 2. The run rate a fairly modest 2.37, and again early wickets. They don't want to end up at 50 odd for 5 again, but this one is swept quite superbly by Balbirnie through square leg, and it's 4 runs.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Is that umpire Milnes or Millens at this end? I think it was, but he was giving that a fairly expansive 4 gesture. 32 for 2. Nestlers.
Mog wants to know, have they worked out when they're playing the IPL yet? I need to know when to aim my outrage they couldn't play the World Cup instead of overpriced domestic comp. I think they have.
It's in that 3rd week of August, isn't it? Something like that.
Is it Abu Dhabi or?
It's Abu Dhabi. It's October going into November, isn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
August. We're still in the middle of the test season, yeah.
That's true.
The CPL starts in August.
I'll get there in. Well, this is interesting. Who saw this coming?
What?
Well, it is.
Everyone's getting a game.
Extraordinarily, unless this is an incredible practical joke by the Sky team giving us the coverage here, it's going to be James Vince.
Yeah, he is.
We all. He comes, and it's steered away past back square leg. Adil Rashid does the fielding. Now, I wonder what the logic here is, Bear. Do you think it's is it about a changing ends?
No.
Are they trying to tempt Ireland to
you're trying to
get
give
on
everyone
with
a
things
game,
a bit?
Tone.
You what? Sorry.
You're trying to give everyone a game. I don't know. It seems a bit weird. Maybe they're just trying to make more of a game of it. They're only going on 2.7.
Ironic if Tector nicks off straight to slip, wouldn't it? As this one is forward, and Vince, who must be wondering what's going on here. I wonder what's going through his mind. Well, I presume he's just clicked into gear and gets on with his bowling. But suffice to say, when he strode across the white line, I very much doubt he was expecting to be bowling after 12 overs.
Well, presumably he bowls part-time in something, otherwise he wouldn't be bowling in international.
Taken 2 wickets at 62 in List A cricket. That doesn't exactly... Well, and that one is driven straight to cover, where David Willey, the taker of both wickets, does the fielding. I can only think they want to switch ends, but that's a little unusual in ODI cricket.
You wouldn't do that.
Or they just want to tempt Ireland to get a move on and take a couple of wickets. We're seeing.
Yeah, I mean it's the old messing with their head thing, isn't it?
Well, it's messing with my head.
I'm all for it.
Last thing I expected. In comes Vince. Actually, it's a decent ball. It lifts a bit, but Tector is right nicely on top of it. It's steered down to third man for a single. So he's gone for 3 or 4 balls, has Vince. He's looked efficient without being penetrative, I think we'd say.
Well, yeah. And why is Mahmood not bowling?
Well, and we're looking closely at him, so I wonder if he's pulled up with a knock or a strain, or in which case you'd argue, why is he out there? But
well, I suppose Go on.
I didn't. Let's have a look. This one's left alone anyway by Balbirnie outside the off stump. Was there anything we saw during the fielding in the first 10 overs that suggested he might have damaged himself?
No.
I just think, well, the proof is yet to be seen. I think he has a preference which end he would like to bowl, and this might be allowing for that preference to be affected unless he's got some kind of...
Yeah, but you should know that before you come out on a pitch, man.
Well, yeah, you should do, but then it doesn't necessarily mean that Owen Morgan for once maybe just didn't quite get it right. This is pushed away into the offside by Tector. There's no run. It's the end of the Vince over. Who thought we'd be saying that? Well, we are, and it was he's wicketless, which isn't a surprise, but only 3 runs, which is not too bad at all. Nestlers.
Ukmar Ram Kajar Karachi says hi. Vijay Dababi says hi. I'm terrible with these names. I hope I'm getting them right. Harsh Sahu says hi. These are all people on Crit Checker. Ganesh Nagari. Susan Giri says hi. Arif Tanhar says hi, lol. And on our own, Mark Pretlove, Fahim Khan, they've all joined us. Victor, Vincent, Vicky, hello from India, hello from Essex, and Sydenham, and wherever you are, Tony.
I'm in Claygate. I will attempt to come back. Oh no, I have a picture. Can you hear? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. That was a single. I wonder why you weren't coming in. That was just clipped. Technical problems today. It's clipped out to deep square leg for a single.
Thank you. In comes Moeen Ali. That one is steered around the corner. It's still rather unstable, Bear. I'll give it an over, but we'll see what happens. Number 7 for Ali.
At half time, I'm noticing, things are going a bit crazy here as well. I don't know why. I'm gonna when we go to the innings break, we're gonna struggle through like this. I'm gonna restart the computer.
I think the heat can sometimes play a funny games with internet connections.
No, I was doing something every once in a while. Computers need a reboot because it's really chugging the CPU today, and it never normally does that.
Oh yeah, 32%. That is highly unusual. That one is steered just wide of the slip that's in place for Moeen Ali. It's Jason Roy. He dives away to his right. There is no run. Harry Tector on 8, Balbirnie on 15, Moeen Ali none for 7, and he's 4 balls into his second over. He comes again. Bit of loop, bit of air, and just pushed back to him by Tector, who looks a different prospect today, Harry Tector. He did make a 50, didn't he, in one of the warm-up games? I think against the Lions. The Lions also really not being the Lions. We'll just wait as in comes Ali, and that's clipped nicely down to long on. They'll take the easiest of singles. Yeah, the Lions not being the Lions, it really was a pretty full England team in that game, and I think Tector made a 50. So I was a bit surprised 2 days ago when he looked so out of sorts. But he's doing all right today. And Nestlers, are you still with us? And can you give us some messages?
I am still here. Pirate Badshaw says England are taking the piss. That's with the bowling of
Vince.
Hang on a second, Vince. Yes. Derek Willis says if this is a way to give Vince some confidence, it's super weird. This is sympathy bowling by England. Ha ha, my lord. Watch Vince pick up 3 wickets, says Omar.
Well, who knows? He's going to carry on. So this does make us think perhaps Shakib Mahmood has a problem. We'll have a little look. Can someone have a look on
good old Crick Info?
Yeah, if not, I will, because that does suggest there's something going on.
I'll have a look.
Thank you, Bear. In comes Vince. Oh, and it's a decent ball, but it's met slightly on the up by Tector, but he turns it around to square leg, gets another single. He moves on to 10, so he's got himself in double figures. Andy Balbirnie, his captain, is on 15. And probably neither of these batsmen were thinking,
no,
we better make our runs pretty quickly off Willie because we're going to have to face Vince soon. Is something that almost certainly didn't go through their head. So perhaps there's an element of the surprise factor. More likely.
If it is a sort of tactical type switch, I'm all for it.
I don't think it is. I'm sure there's an issue.
You think there's an injury?
Yeah. That one, though, is a decent ball from Vince. I think he's got an edge. As would you believe it? Somebody said Vince will take a wicket. If you'd have bet it was going to be the Ireland captain, and if they were going to actually play the most Vince-like shot you'll ever see in your life with a little edge to slip, that's precisely what has happened. It may have been taken behind the stumps. Let me have a quick look, then we'll get the jingle.
Oh dear.
It was the tamest of dismissals, straight to Bairstow, Vince has a wicket. He's got the look of surprise on his face, and so have the rest of us. There. Well, that, I think, Bear, was what you might say was an I was there moment. Well, I wasn't there. I was there virtually.
We were there virtually.
I was there virtually.
That's a terrible
when James
shot.
Vince got an ODI wicket for England at his home ground.
Would you like some Vince tweeting?
Yes, come
Go
on.
for it. I bet there must be loads of it.
Vince bowling is potential embodiment of shit getting wickets. James Vince bowling, I'd rather see Pavarotti in goal, says Neymar Butlins. Moggs says someone has hacked your systems and is using it to mine for Bitcoin, Bear. Ravi Nair says perhaps Vince rebrand himself as the new Jonathan Trott, dibbly dobblers and batting at 3. Neymar Butlins says you should hire Harry Tector to take over the GCIT department, then you could say, oh, sounds like a Tector problem. Tis,
Very good.
Wooly went off, says Tai Ping Shang.
Did he? Okay. So you need a fifth. You need the extra bowler then.
Whitlayer points out that gives Vince a pretty respectable bowling average of 4.
In international cricket, yeah. not in List A cricket generally, which 2 wickets at 62.
It does, in fact. Look, Willie's changed. I don't know if he's coming back on. He looks like he was a bit creaky on the outfield there. We have a new batsman.
KOB.
It's going to be that man indeed.
Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin.
And he's on the back foot to Vince, away to cover. No run, the hero of Bengaluru.
Whenever I hear his jingle, I always panic and think, oh, it's all finished, I've got to change or something.
Yes, indeed.
What are we doing? Whoa.
Indeed. I think we probably need a jingle now for Vince when he's a bowler rather than the batsman. I mean, normally we have multi-purpose jingles that do for everything, but this has been such a surprise. Again, this is played nicely by O'Brien, but exactly the same as the previous shot, away into the offside, straight to cover, no run. 39 for 3, so Kevin O'Brien's at the wicket again with Ireland in a spotted bowler. Of course, it was young Camphor who rode to their rescue 2 days ago, but Kevin O'Brien kept him company for a while. Made 22, I think, didn't he, O'Brien, from recollection? Yeah, he did. Before he went to Rashid. Forward he comes, nicely on the drive, driven straight to wide mid-off there, and again, there's no run. 77 miles an hour from James. 77 electric miles an hour. And
well, you know what? There are some international. Jason Old was only bowling at 79, mate.
There, he's taken a wicket. He's been economical. I mean, what more do you want in an ODI?
Yeah, I mean, this wouldn't happen against
James
India.
Vince, let's give him the benefit of the doubt before we wonder what's going on. That's shorter there. It's probably not the best ball for him to bowl, and it's away to square leg. Beautifully hauled in short of the rope. They'll restrict them to 2.
Sam Billings.
So Kevin O'Brien's off and running. Vince is 1 for 6. I'll repeat that just because it's so extraordinary. James Vince has 1 for 6.
In an international
ODI. 1 for 3 Ireland.
In 2 overs. That's not bad either. Good economy rate of 3 in an ODI. What did Billings look like the other night?
Billings?
Yeah.
Billings was superb.
Yeah.
He feels one of his great advantages, I think, as Sam Billings, and has said so. A couple of interviews I saw this morning. His ability to play spin would be a real asset. He was fed up with carrying the drinks, and he feels that's where what he offers England, and he proved it very nicely. Coming in at when all was far from done and dusted, you'll recall.
Well,
we have a change of bowling.
Yeah, we do indeed.
It could be this man.
It will be. If I can find him. Where's everything?
Oh.
No, wrong one. Sorry.
That's all right.
Haven't been here for a couple of days. There he is.
And we're shooting on the 45. And we're shooting on the 45. And we're shooting on the 45. And we're shooting on the 45.
In comes out of Rashid. There's a slip in place for him. It's through Tector and seemed to, I think, did that miss just about everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, how it missed the stumps, I'm not quite sure. We'll have another look.
I think it went through the gate. Yeah, it did.
The leg break went through the gate, missed the stumps, through to Bairstow, and he's a lucky boy. But he's still there. As Rashid is in, and this one is full and played to mid-on, and Harry Tector, I think, quite grateful to run a quick single there and leave Kevin O'Brien to deal with Rashid.
Yeah, this is a big step up for Tector, isn't it? I mean that gate was more like a barn door, man.
Yeah, but he's making it, as we've said, he's making a distinctly better fist of it than he did in that first game where he did look sadly all at sea, and we all felt for him a little bit. But he's doing all right here. But of course, Rashid has that googly that is so hard to pick. Let's see what he's got here. That's more of a traditional leg break. And it's played nicely by Kevin O'Brien away to cover.
I just got under 28.5 for Tector.
Okay. You've explained to me before why the half is important in that, but I'm sure there's a reason. That one's nicely played, came forward, did well, did O'Brien there take another quick single. So we have, again, England have a spinning options with Rashid and Mo and Ali, of course,
I'm going to predict
work pretty well.
One of these two balls is going to be a googly. It's going to stuff them all ends up, and there'll be a shout for LBW. Whether it will be
well, you heard it here first.
And the reason there's a half tone is obvious.
Hold on 1 second. Obvious to you, Bet. And that one is nicely played away into the offside by Harry Tector. There's a deep cover, so he will get himself a single. It'll bring Kevin O'Brien back onto strike. Tector moves on to 12.
The reason there's a half tone is you can't score half a run, so you either get 28 or you get 29. So if it's under 28.5, you either win it or you lose it. There's no ambiguity if someone gets 28 going, well, he got 28.
You're right. Oh, what a delivery. What a ball. It was a leg break, not a googly, but it was straight through Kevin O'Brien. His off stump is pegged back. England have their next wicket, and Ireland once again are in the mire.
I won't look back, 'cause by the time that I do, you'll be gone.
What I will say is it might have brushed his pad on the way through and knocking the stumps over.
Well,
but I did call it. Did I not call that? I called that, man.
You called it, except I think you said it was going to be a googly, which it wasn't.
It was. No, it was. It was a fucking googly, you muppet. Yes. It turned back into him. He bowls leg breaks, Tone. It pitched on off and it came back in and hit middle stump. That's called a googly.
If that's true, you were spot on. I thought it turned the other way. But
no.
So we'll have a look at the replay. But either way, it was too good. It was too good for Kevin O'Brien.
I've got a clear picture, Tone. It was a googly, came back through the gate. And
he's a world-class spin bowler as well.
He is. He is.
No, you are.
Well, yeah.
Well,
do you like some tweets?
Yes, you better had.
Derek Willis says, if Vince gets wickets, does this mean he can't be dropped?
No,
for fuck's sake, Ireland. Show the Unionist traitors team who's boss.
They're
might want to swing on fairly quickly there.
Well, you know, it's 800 years of oppression and all that. There's songs about that stuff.
There are indeed.
There's one about there's an Irish Republican song called Sean Tracy.
Is there?
Oh yes. I am a famous Irish Republican.
Are you, by Jove?
I was the first Irishman to shoot dead an English policeman on Irish soil. I've got a plaque in Dublin. And I've got a memorial swimming pool and museum in Tipperary town.
Whoa.
That's a long way, otherwise I'd go there.
I had been there. My dad was from Tipperary.
Was he, by Joe?
Was he also Sean Tracy?
And I signed the visitors book, much to the amusement of my father.
Well, anyway, any more messages? And
well, Lewis Hamilton, unsurprisingly, has got pole for the British Grand Prix.
Well, that's... How many is he on this year? Is it going to be 8 this year if he wins it this year?
No, he'll equal Schumacher with 7.
Oh, okay. So he's going to go on next year and win, and then he can do what the hell he likes, doesn't he?
I think he'll want to go to 10.
Yeah. You reckon?
Yeah.
Now, Bear, here we go. We're going to see a replay of the wicket, so I'm going to watch super closely.
Okay, you watch, wicket. Tone.
I'll be watching Willie. We're looking at Willie's first wicket and the second one, which was a loose shot from Paul Sterling, to be honest. So that's 2 and 2. He's been out playing a loose ball. Then, of course, the mighty James Vince it wasn't a classic outside edge. It was more of a sort of a
here it comes,
under edge, I think. Now
pitches,
here it comes,
turns in, hits the stump.
Yes, it was the googly. How much it turned, I'm not sure. It looked to me like it more went straight on with the arm there, but the benefit of the doubt,
no.
It didn't turn like a leg break. Is where I will absolutely.
Well, no, because it wasn't. It was a
you.
googly.
But it didn't turn a lot. But it seemed
turned
to go
enough.
pretty much.
When there's a gate that big, that's all you need to do, Tone.
Well, there you go. So now we're talking about the deficiencies of Kevin O'Brien's defensive technique more than the degree of rip.
Yeah, but the point is,
googly.
The point is that he probably didn't.
The
problem is he probably didn't even bloody pick it up, did he?
No, James Vince anyway is in. That's just straight to back point by Harry Tector. 12 or 30 for him.
And he's one of the most experienced Irish players there is. And he didn't pick it up.
He is. Doesn't bowl much these days. Indeed, really not at all. So he's really in there as a batsman. But he 22 on Thursday. Not so many today. Up onto the back foot goes Tector. This again is steered nicely away to deep point. Gets himself another single. He moves on to 13, and the new man at the crease, who we will jingle possibly right now, Lorcan Tucker. Yes, indeed, Lorcan Tucker facing his first ball from James Vince, and very solid and correctly forward comes Lorcan Tucker away to the ring of fielders.
I just need to go and get another beer.
That offside. Bear is going for another beer. 45 for 4. Ireland, we've had 16 and a half overs, and we feel perhaps David Willey is carrying some form of knock. Nestlers, are you able to have a quick look for us and see if there's any news on that? As in comes Vincent. And he beats the outside edge of a tentative push from Tucker through to Bairstow. Surely not. I mean, can we say two wickets for James Vince, 3 wickets for James Vince? Well, who expected that 5 from James Vince? I mean, it would be extraordinary, wouldn't it? We're seeing again that terrific. Now here's the ball that's going to tell us. All right, I will concur. It was the googly. It did turn enough. The bear was correct. Oh God, he's back. I was hoping to be able to say that before he returns, but he's. There we go.
Yes.
And that one is played nicely by Tucker, straight to point. No run. And
you know what it did do? It struck his pad as well.
It did. 45 for 4. Either way, I think he'd be disappointed, but that googly is hard to pick whether you're facing it as a batsman or commentating on it. Particularly if it doesn't turn much, but it did turn enough. So it was, therefore, we have agreed to end this argument once and for all. It was a legitimate googly. That one's full, and Tucker is forward. James Vince fields off his own bowling. Still 70. He's consistent, isn't he, James Vince? Plugging away at 77 miles an hour, which is not exactly slouching. It's the end of his over. 45 for 4. Nestlers.
No, I can't see anything at the moment that about Willie going off on Crick Info on why.
No, I think it's back.
Worry.
I think he did come back on.
Maybe he's just gone for a rest.
Oh, it could be one of those breaks. Yes, it could well be. 45 for 4, 45, 44, 40, 45, 45 for 4. This is 45 for 4, Hendo, if you're listening, or 44 for 45 if you're Australian. And Rashid, full. I think it was a full toss, wasn't it? It was horrible. It was. Not surprisingly, it was meaterly dispatched down the ground by young Harry for one of these.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Next ball's going to be a slider.
Well, far be it from me to. Oh Lord! And the umpire was I'm not sure which. I think that's David Millens. Was in a right old mess there. He just about managed to duck underneath.
Clocked on the head.
Fell over.
Wow.
Yeah, it did. It caught a little bit of his hat. He's seeing the funny side of it. He lost a pair of spectacles he had on the back of his hat as well. which he then, if there are players' spectacles, presumably he's not supposed to touch them, but he just did. Forward comes Tector, back to the bowler, no run. Yes, I'd imagine it's all right for the player to sort of gently put the spectacles on the back of the hat, but then it rather defeats the object if the umpire then drops them and picks them up himself.
Exactly.
However, these things are easy to forget. The slip is in place.
Oh!
That one is a big shout. That looked to be turning too far down leg there. I'm going to defer to you immediately and see if you agreed with me.
It's another googly, and again, that one did turn, and it started on about just inside the middle stump, and was turning down leg side.
No one's disputing the degree of turn on that one there for a moment. And turned so much, in fact, from outside off, that it was heading down leg. So he's 3 balls left of this over. 1 for 7 for Rashid. That one, of course, Kevin O'Brien. That one's a more classical leg break on off stump.
A little bit too short.
From middle to off. Played nicely by Tucker.
Yeah, that was a little bit too short there.
And it's the 50 up for Ireland. Owen Morgan is wearing 2 caps and 1 pair of sunglasses. On his cap, forward comes Tucker, away to short mid wicket, no run. Yes, of course. I mean, you'll be well versed, I suspect, by now with these various rules and regulations. But umpires not allowed to touch the clothing of the players. This one's pushed away into the onside. They take 1. They will come back for 2. So it's fine running down to deep backward square. Tucker's luck. Al Hodge is suggesting from the green room because he survived. Could be, but he's off the mark now with 2. Ireland are 52 for 4.
Wait.
And yes, please, that would be brilliant.
Neymar Butlins has sent a picture of himself in. Says, Bear, greetings from LA. Just did a 5-mile run today. Keep up the good work, lads.
Greetings, Neymar. I still think that's one of the best names on Twitter. Neymar Butlins.
Mog says, Jesus, could you be any more of a bad winner, Bear? Have you suddenly turned Australian? And Grits and Grat says, it's a good job I'm in the middle to break up that Bishop Bear Googly Gate fight, otherwise it might have got physical.
Look, I'm a man enough to hold my hands up and go, yes, I was wrong. It was a googly. Vince is going to continue, and away into the offside it goes. 1 wicket for James Vince, but who'd have thought there was even going to be that today? So unless they maybe had it up their sleeve, maybe they'd always thought England and Owen Morgan would surprise them today. Maybe there was a conversation in the dressing room before they came out. James, this is your day. And he said, what, am I going to get 100? No, you're going to bowl. Anyway, in he comes. Oh! And he bowls what we've been expecting. It's a horrible delivery, but it's away down to deep backward square. Adil Rashid is the man down there.
Well, it's just short. Going down leg, and it was quite well pulled by Tector.
It was. He played it well enough.
Well, you know.
Oh, he came down the track to it though, so it must have been pretty. In fact, let's give James Vince the benefit of the doubt, because the batsman had come so far down that perhaps he sort of slightly changed his line to accommodate his length to accommodate that. This one though is beautifully clipped away through mid wicket. Is it got enough?
No.
No, it hasn't. It's going to be pulled up short by Reece Topley.
Slightly
He looks quite sort of dashing and piratical, doesn't he?
He does.
Topley.
And this may well be the end of the Vince experiment.
At the Jason Roy experiment, now we've got the James Vince experiment.
Is that like the Quatermass experiment?
Yeah. That wasn't a great
pit.
time shot. He got to it all right, but he didn't quite time it so well.
He did. Oh, Reece Topley. Well, that'll test his fitness. The speed at which he had to turn and the sprint he had to put in to catch the ball, and he seems to have come through it well enough. 56 for 4.
Oh, that's
Vince in. Oh, that's an absolute awful delivery as it sort of floated away down leg. Not surprisingly called as a fairly large leg side wide. And I think we could safely say, Nestlers, perhaps he's struggling to sustain his early promise.
His early brilliance.
Do you agree with that?
Well, they burgled 4 overs.
Well, he has, and he's only gone for 12, which is not at all bad. There's no slip in place for him now anyway. And up onto his toes goes Tector, drops the bat on it down to short fine leg, and he will get a single. Vince has 1 ball left of this over. Tucker will be back on to 5. It's just something about the name Tucker. I just can't help thinking about Grange Hill every time I hear it.
Yeah, well,
even though it's
We had a jingle there. That was a Shane Watson jingle, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Crying all the time, yeah.
And in comes Vince, and this is played nicely as well. Steered down to third man. Another single for Tucker. He will keep the strike, I think, even though the scorecard on the screen says differently.
I think it hasn't changed over yet. There's one ball left in the over. That's why, Tone, because there was a wide.
Funny. Indeed.
No, I mean, I don't want to sound all Australian about this, but.
Well, anyway, in comes Vince to Harry Tector, who comes down the track, slams him back over his head. One bounce, maybe two bounces, into the sponge for one of these.
It's me, says she. It's me, says she.
You know, it's harsh to say, but on a good day, Ireland challenge England. But on most days, England do walk over them, don't they?
Well, yes.
I mean, this is a second string side. I mean, you've got to keep doing it. I agree. The only way they're going to get better is to play us.
We'll have a look at this. It was not a great ball for Vince, and it was the classic golf shot, really, wasn't it?
It was. It went a lot, very high as well. You didn't get it perfectly, did it? It went a long way
No,
out.
a little high up the bat, maybe, and way down back towards that hotel. But was straight away Rashid's into his work, and Tucker is forward, getting on top of any spin there might have been. About 56 or so miles an hour by Adil Rashid there, as he, as ever, flips the ball from hand to hand, whips around to the top of his mark. It's in, the slip is in place. It's tickled around the corner though, or down really to square leg. They take one. They've got time to take a lively two, but they get there. So Tucker moves on to 8. His partner Harry Tector on 3. We're going to have a change at the end of this over. I have a feeling I might be staying on and moving, sliding virtually into your chair, Nestlers.
Oh, we've been joined by Al.
Oh.
And I'm doing ball by ball.
Will be a treat.
Defend.
Forward comes Tucker. Straight short mid wicket, no run. 65 for 4. And Harry Tector this time is the rock around which Ireland is trying to build its response. So good for him. That one is pretty much on with the arm, pushed away down to backward square. Reece Topley, cap, black curly hair flowing from underneath that cap, and his piratical beard does the fielding. 66 for 4. 2 balls left of this Rashid over. He's in, he throws this up outside the off stump, and it's a really smartly taken single because it was straight to mid on. But they did well, thank you, Nestlers. Remembering them being connected. Yep, I need to call up Twitter and be ready for my new role. Rashid's in. Oh, and that one was the googly again. And nearly got through the gate. It was a bit inside edgy by Tucker, but he got away with it. 67 for 4. And Tector 24, Tucker 9. Al Hodge will be the next voice you hear, and I will be moving into the tweet seat.
You will indeed.
Hello, everybody.
Hello there, Al, and we're looking at the difference between Adil Rashid's googly and his normal ball.
You mean the googly that he took a wicket with?
Yes. That'll be the one.
Right, Al. I just want to make sure that I'm the definitive voice in this.
Yeah, I did. It was just. Yeah. He's a class bowler, and he's looking at these guys. I've hardly ever seen him.
The look on your face there, as you correctly called the googly, is only slightly less smug than James Vince's face when he bounces out the Irish captain.
But it was, just, the best batsman in the world would, have struggle picking it up, and these guys have hardly seen him. He's bound to throw it in pretty early.
We've got James Vince experiments over though.
Well, yes, and probably rightly so. I don't know why they went to him before this. They're trying to burgle some overs, possibly. And it's going to be this man. And first ball is to Tector, drives out to cover where Morgan's fielding, and there's no run. convoy, isn't it?
Yeah.
With Chris
10-4
Christopherson.
rubber duck.
Yeah, exactly. Is it Chris Christopherson? It wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I can't remember what the whole premise is of it. They're all going on strike or something, aren't they? Or they're trying to smuggle drugs.
They've got a real big convoy.
That's yeah, but there's a reason for the convoy. Otherwise, it's just pointless. Probably was to sell trucks. Saki Mahmood is in bowls. Tector just plays that square out to mid-off. They get through for a single. Well run.
Have you got the song "I Like Trucking" from Not the 9 O'Clock News running down in your head as well?
Yeah, I like trucking.
They slap the hedgehogs
killing
on the
hedgehogs
side
as well.
Yeah, exactly.
The flattened hedgehog.
Yeah. And a sticker on the side of the door.
Yeah.
68 for 4. They're in the 21st over. Run rate is 3.34. It's picked up from 2.5. But it's not really an international one day. It's an ineffective run rate. They've lost 4 wickets as well. I suppose they've got to hunker down and aim to blast late. In bowls by Mahmood. Guided down to third man for a single. I think David Willie's fielding down there. They've got to be thinking, you've got to try and get to, well, you've got 30 overs left, you're on 70. You'd like to think you could get to 240 from here.
You'd like to hope so.
If you're Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, really, these two, 15 overs time, these two still need to be at the crease. 1 half century in the bag and another one close. Or
yeah. Mahmood is into Tector. Short. And ducks underneath it. It's going to be given as a wide.
It's a bit of a change of pace from James.
It is a little bit of a change of pace.
There is another thought.
What's that?
As to why? Well, as to why Vince may have suddenly appeared. Because if you have Topley,
maybe it is that Topley's not going to bowl all 10.
Well, it's partly that. Also, you've got 2 left armers now, haven't you? And you probably wanted to break that up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the only other logic I can possibly come up with, I'm afraid.
Well, yeah, but they started with that and they bowled a lot of overs with that. So,
true. That is true.
England in their 11 today, they've got 3 wicket keepers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They've got 2 batsmen who definitely don't bowl. Morgan and Roy. So that leaves you with 6 players. So James Vince is England's 6th choice bowler in this 11 as it's constituted.
Yeah, true. And they thought they'd burgle some overs, and it was reasonable to do if you wanted to give yourself choice at the end of the innings. You burgle 4 overs after the 10. They're going along at just over 2 and over. If you leak a few, it's only going to go up to 3.5. You're England. You've won the World Cup. That doesn't bother you at all, does it? Saqib in bowls, driven with not great timing up to mid-off, and there's no run.
Have you got 4 years to say that? I mean, is it like every time?
Yes, we have.
Woohoo! Yeah, it's like World Cup winner entering the room there. Does Owen Morgan introduce not just England captain, World Cup winning England captain?
Well, yes.
Very few people can say that in
3
the UK, in England generally.
3?
Yeah.
In
4?
men's sport, yes. Don't forget there are versions.
Mahmood is in to Tector, who sent out to mid-wicket. Is that Reece Topley comes herring in? Reece Topley reminds me of, I think, Russell Brand's not a bad shout. Also,
somebody said
also the lead puppet in what's that America? The puppet movie by the people who
Team
did
America.
Team America.
Team America World Police.
Can I get some tweets in quickly? Tim Everingham says, evening, very early in the morning, Gorillas. Just wondering if we should be worried about Vince. Has his results come back? Is it serious? Is this his make-a-wish?
Saqib
That
Mahmood.
is slightly harsh.
It is a little. Well, you know what? He bowls in the nets all the time, probably. And getting up to the mid-70s. I mean, that's what I'm going to say. You face that on a Saturday, you'd be scared. That's defended out to mid-off and there's no run. 75 is on a Saturday afternoon in a league match. That's pretty nippy.
You guys faced the bowling machine, the pair of you.
We did,
you know.
And I didn't see it. That's driven up to Mid-off, did they go through for single or they did not go through for single?
What did 75 look like?
Well, the thing was the machine was doing it off 18 yards as well because they didn't have a long enough net, which is a bit annoying. And I think that's so it made it feel faster. Oh, that's the googly again, defended by Tector. Not pad and bat together though. Squirts out to mid-wicket and there's no run. I'll be doing a slider now, so that was me.
Yeah.
Just go straight on, fast and top spinner. Set him up enough with all this shit. There you go, but it's a normal leg break.
I might give this next one a bit more air.
No run. Yeah.
I've done a bit of that.
I want him propping forward and I want to try and get him LBW because he's not picking it. That's tossed up way outside off stump though, and he gets him off strike. Bit of terrible fielding at cover. Allows it to bounce over. There's Vince. And goes out to the cover.
Terrible fielding.
Ah, man, it was. You're a professional. He just fucking waved his hand at it.
As it went a yard to his left.
Yeah, bollocks, man. Save those runs on my bowler. That's defended back down the track, and there is no run. Tector's on 27. Tucker's on 10 off 16. Tector's 27 off 49. He's eating up a lot of time.
Anna Forsyth says, I've been with the county comms. I can't believe while I left the game in your hands, you let James and Vince bowl and even get a wicket. You're bringing the game into disrepute. Can't be the first time. No, probably not. Derek Willis says...
In our defence, we were left unsupervised.
We were. Derek Willis says... so what you're saying is that Vince made a good early start and then it went wrong. Yes, that's probably about right. Leo Wicket Witch. Yes, a bit like his batting. I get the point. Leo Wicket Witch says you'd have to sneak a lot of O's in front of your eyes to sound strain about this bear. Yes. Imagine says just heard Dick Norcroft on BBC County Coverage speak of the left arm spinner at his club, a wonderful fellow called Nigel Walker.
That's good of him. I got a lot of wickets for him. That's defended square on your side and there's no run. But to be fair, he did let me bowl all afternoon, which is great. As a bowler, that's all you want to do. And as a
he went on actually and said a crafty bowler and a left arm spinners are full of witticisms in the context of Moriarty bowling for Surrey. This was.
That's a shame. Mahmood is continuing. 71 for 4, Ireland. He's up to the crease now, bowls. Tector plays that out to the leg side, and I'm at my limit, 28.5. I went under. Damn. And he plays that out to mid wicket, and there's one run. He moves on to 28. I need him out now.
He's worked really hard to.
He has worked really hard, and I give him credit for that. But it's an ODI. You can't be going like 28 or 51.
Well, I guess if all around you is carnage, then probably you can.
Yeah, you can to a degree, but he didn't look. I mean, it took him a long time to get in at the same time, you know. He's only looked comfortable in the last, 3-4 overs. You've got to get up to speed a bit quicker than that. Pulled short by Mahmood. Pulled very fine, actually. Well done. Played it into the ground, out to a very fine leg, and it's got himself 4 runs. I mean, this is where they've got to improve, isn't it? I mean, if you look at it just objectively, you've got to look at it. They lose early wickets, and they don't score quick enough. You know, in the modern ODI, the first 10 overs, you've got to be going at 6, 7, 8s and over, and you only want to lose 2 wickets, and the best sides do that, and that's where you want to be. Everyone should be aspiring to be there. Mahmood is in bowled, guided by Tucker down to third man. Will get himself a single.
Yeah, and the only way to get there is to have
played about sides,
50 odd for 4s and 45 for 4s and things like that. It's exactly why Italy joined the Six Nations.
Yeah, totally. That's not a great example, though, is it? How long have they been there?
Well, what you hope. Well, I mean, there's been a race to the bottom between them and Scotland, I guess. But you look at it and you go, well, that's how you get better.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it has to be said that it's true. Saki was in, defended by Tector out to the offside, and there's no run. I just wonder if, I guess certain sports you can get better quicker. Cricket takes a long time to get better.
Well, the the bit that's hopeful is that, I mean, with Italy and rugby, it seems like it's been one generation and out, where at least with, we're beginning to see with this match and the match before that there's this crop of young Irish talent that just needs chance to be able to play better opposition.
Yeah, true. But then you get found out as well, are you already good enough to play at the highest level and that kind of stuff. Saki is in, bowls, driven by Tector to cover, and there's no run. My bet's still in play.
He's looking to try to come forward to balls that aren't really there to come forward to be honest.
Well, I like that better than sort of fishing around outside his off stump, or rather, that's positive. It's positive intent.
Certainly is. It's the end of that over, isn't it?
Pirate Badshaw says, generally agree that on any given day you'd expect England to beat Ireland, but I think this current sluggishness is as much to do with the limited lead in the series and the lower quality bowling that Ireland's batters have warmed up against compared to England. Had this series happened in September when it was supposed to do with a full season behind them, I think the batting would be better.
Yeah, possibly true. Defended into back down the track to Adil Rashid, and there's no run. Yeah, but then you have to say, this is where talent and pool and all that shit comes from. At the end of the day, England had the same setup and the same opportunity, and they're a better side. They're World Cup winners after all. Driven up to mid-off and there's no run.
Did they do that? I hadn't noticed.
Well, yes. But then this, to be fair, this is a fucking second string side. Let's be honest here, man.
Well, partially.
Well, 4 or 5 players. That's down leg side, horrible ball. Tucker rightly just clips it out past the square leg and he'll get himself a single. He's top the fields. Okay, you got Roy Bairstow. Root's missing. Stokes is missing. Butler's missing. Archer's missing.
Yes, all the players
Wokes is missing.
Are in the test side.
Exactly. There's a large part of this side is missing. Adil Rashid is in, and Tector comes down the track. He's going to essay to smash it back over his head, but got beaten in the flight. Did cover up, which is good, and defended it back to the bowler, and there's no run. He's going to give himself room outside leg stump and then clamp it over the offside. But that wasn't happening, and Adil Rashid is in. Pulls out whilst delivering. And it's a dead ball. 78 for 4 still. 28 remains Tector. And I need him to get out now if I'm going to win my bet. Adil Rashid is in, bowls, and could be. He is. Fucking hell, would you believe it? He's just driven that horribly timed straight to mid-on. He's on a 30-yard circle. That's quite a tame way to get out. Saki Mahmood has caught it. He's just standing there at mid-on. It went straight to him, didn't get any air. And well bowled Adil Rashid. Poor shot really in the end, and he worked quite hard and ate up a lot of balls to get to that 28, but nonetheless we have to say goodbye.
Now you're gone. Oh,
we need a jingle of goodbye from Peter Cook and Dudley Moore.
Well, you know what? We get so many bloody copyright strikes as those arseholes at YouTube who, under any definition of their fair use rules, we use all our music as fair use. We're basically taking a piss out of cricketers or, eulogising cricketers. That is the absolute definition of fair use. It's not we're paying you music because it's music. And you can't get around it. The fuckers just give us bloody copyright strikes left, right and centre all the fucking time. We got some great jingles that we used to use for Out that we generally cull because of that, and it really bloody irritates me.
Let's get some tweets in while we wait for the next batsman. Ravi Nair is saying, is Tector's dressing room name Pro? It should be Harry the Pro Tector. Nice picture from Dr. Dan of Andy Balbirnie sweeping a 4 off Moeen Ali. Mog tells us, quite rightly, because I remember now he's told me, the convoy was by C.W. McCall, which of course it was. Leah says that the truckers in convoy get harassed and murdered by fascist police and then take revenge, if I remember correctly. Pretty prescient stuff, really.
Well, yeah. We have a new batsman, and it is
Camper, went it? Hero.
Oh yes. Well, he got 50 in the last game, didn't he?
He did.
It's this man. His jingle seems to be 0 seconds long there, so let's see what happens. Well, it says 20 seconds.
Now who's this guy?
First ball. Did he hit that?
Inside edge from the googly.
Oh, inside edge from the googly. That's a very fine leg for 2 runs.
Absolutely could have gone before his jingle was finished.
Well, I bet you the betting site has good
fucking
odds on him just because he got 50 in the last game. Let's see. Let's go back to the live game. I will tell you some things going on. It's 80 for 5. What were they that last game? They were similar.
They're getting better. It was 50 for 5 last time.
And then Camper got a 50. So I can get under. No. Under 18.5 for Camper is basically evens, slightly on the onside.
What about over?
Over, similar. That's where the line is. 18.
Yeah, 5 to 6 each of 2.
Yeah, 10 to 11. Yeah. Slightly better than 5 to 6. And I'm going to go on it in a minute. I'm going to say he's failing today. Tucker in bowls. No, Tucker's facing. Mahmood's in bowls. And did Tucker draw his bat inside that? I'm not sure he did. Whistle passes outside edge through to Bairstow, and there ain't no run.
No, he did not.
See, I think fucking Bet365 have figured out that all they ever do is bet on over and under the wicket. So when I get a run, they stop offering it to me. They're such a bunch of bastards, man.
Well, it's because it's changed the market.
Well, no, they just stop offering the bet to me. I don't know if it's to me or they just take it out of the
they'd
market.
stop offering it to everyone. The bet's in play at that stage, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Tucker faces up, defended, back down the track. And there is no run.
He looked a decent product of a South African background, Camphor, in the first
oh, shit.
ODI.
I didn't know that. What, he's South African?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I don't know now.
He'd represented South Africa at under 19 level.
Oh, bollocks. See, I wasn't privy to that information. I might have gone over had I known that.
And the fact he got 50.
And the fact he got 50. But I was thinking that was a lucky 50.
Superbly. And
then you told me South African. Tucker drives. Nicely driven. There is a man out sweeping. It's Vince. He's everywhere. He's out on the point boundary. And he saves the 4 and they'll only get a single. So Camphor comes on strike. Has he got a really broad South African accent for an Irishman?
Never heard him talk.
Well, I presume he does. If he played under 19s in South Africa, he must have a broad South African accent. Great.
He got an Irish passport courtesy of his grandmother.
I want to play international cricket. Camphor is facing up. He looks a bit cherub-like. And very young, left alone to the keeper, and there's no one.
He is very young, Bear. He's 21.
Oh, okay. He looks it. He looks a bit like shit. Who's the guy who was in the original Transformers movies? My memory for names is really shit these days.
Shia LaBeouf.
That's it. It looks a bit like Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, Shia LaBeouf. Yeah.
Yeah. Underneath that helmet.
Shia the Beef.
LaBeouf.
What a shit fucking name, man. Apparently he's a moody shit as well.
His brother Frank was a really good footballer then.
Played for Chelsea, didn't he? Frank LaBeouf.
Camphor faces up. 2! Oh dear, Mahmood drives it, gets a thickish outside edge. It's uppish for a while. Of course there's no slips and there's no gully. So it goes down to third man and they'll get themselves a single.
Captain Bear, you've got your team 80, you've got your opponents 82 for 5. Would you have a couple of slips in? Or would you just start to restrict runs and stuff?
You know, I have said this before on the show, but I will say it again. The reason New Zealand got to the World Cup final last year, and remember I watched an awful lot of games live, as Mahmood comes in and he's bowling.
You may have mentioned it.
Oh, edge! Didn't really know what was going on there, Tucker. Sort of tried to pull his hands away, got totally stuffed. But managed to get an edge. There was no first slip. Maybe he could have a first slip still, considering what score they're on, but he didn't. And that's probably Morgan. It's gone down to the boundary for 4 runs.
Right, Leah. Oh, sorry, go on then. After you.
Well, no, I said this when we were watching the World Cup final, and the guys who were on commentary, and I was with them. I mean, what you don't see on the TV is how it all, pans out. But I kept saying to the guys in the commentary stand, they fucking weren't listening to me, and I was getting quite annoyed with them actually, even though I wasn't supposed to be actually producing the show. But the one thing that New Zealand did, and they did it in the semi-finals against India as well, they knew they were never going to get a lot of runs, but they always kept the one man inside the circle after 10 overs to squeeze the score. When everyone else put the maximum amount of players out, they'd always keep one extra on the inside. So they wouldn't take the maximum out, they'd always keep an extra one on the offside. And they bowl there, and they bowl it a little dry just to get the run rate down. Adil Rashid is in, and it's a leg break, and it's played out by Camphor to the man sweeping on the cover boundary, Sam Billings. And
what a heavy offside field for Rashid here, 5 and 3.
Yeah, but
and a slip, of course.
In the World Cup and in ODIs, the whole thing is so formulaic. People just put people out because they can, and they think, they're going to score runs anyway. But what New Zealand did, and what was really good to see from Kane Williamson, that one's pitched on about probably middle and leg. It's straightened a little bit, but Tucker's defender back down the track, and there's no run. What he did is he took the gamble and he said, right, we're going to bowl there, and you're good enough to bowl there, and we're going to cut the runs down, and we're going to get, so we can only get 240, 250. We're always going to cut the opposition's opportunity to get there. Defender out in the off stump, there's no run. They'll go along at a certain amount in the first 10 overs, and then if we can squeeze them in the next 5 or 6 overs, we can get that run rate up to something which is defendable. And they did that against England, and they did that against India in the semi-finals. And a lot of people just didn't pick up on it, but I thought it was really brave at the time. Driven by Tucker up to mid-off, and there's no run. And everyone else was just being really formulaic. No matter what the situation seemed to be in a game, after 10 overs, people just put their men out rather than trying to force the issue. Let's go. Adil Rashid in, bowls. I think that was a little bit of a googly. Tucker defended it back down the track, and there's no run. He's going all right, 21 off 28. You guys can speak, you know.
I know Al Manny's also frozen. The internet's playing all kinds of
the
games today.
Shit today, isn't it? It turns back into Tucker, sorry, who attempts a drive, gets fat inside half of the bat, goes back to Adil Rashid, and there's no run. He's got 2 for 18.
I'll take us through some tweets in the meantime, Bear.
Okie dokie.
If I can see where we got to. Leah was replying to Mog, who told us it was C.W. McCall for Convoy. It was Peckinpah, you Philistine. I think you two are arguing about different things. C.W. McCall sang the song, and Peckinpah directed the movie, so you're both right. McMood, Scotland's loss, says Typing Shan. Leah says, enjoy your 4 years of gloating about the Cricket World Cup, then it's back to being the team that collectively has won 2/3 of the ICC trophies Dhoni's won as captain. Anna Forsyth says, Bish will tell you that Morgan can bowl. He can, sort of medium pace, doesn't he? Or at least he has. When Middlesex are behind the 8 ball on over rate, which is always, they've thrown on batters to bowl more than once. Eskenazi, Gubbins, Morgan and Robson have a few overs under their belts. Yes, they do.
Camphor is facing up to Mahmood, who's in. He just plays it square on our side. There's no run. Well, I think we have a Nestle boy, but he's not visible.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. Is it heat, Bear? You're right about our processors are well over what they normally are. They're normally running at just under 10%. Now today they're running at 35%.
I know.
With no extra, with apparently no extra
anything
technology being pushed through them.
I know. It's weird, isn't it? It just happens every once in a while. It happens. I think it's just shit that gets on a computer, and every once in a while they have a fit, and you need to restart them. Defended back down the track, and there's no run. A bit like human beings, funnily enough.
I genuinely think you should get a job in tech support somewhere. It's that kind of advice that people need when they ring up.
It's true.
I think you've got a bit of shit in your computer,
you get a feel for this
you
shit.
just need to
you
restart
deal with
it.
machines long enough, you go every once in a while, it's just like, well, why is it doing that? There's no reason why it should. If I just turn it on and off, it'll just clear everything. It just works.
Ask Bear. Welcome to Technology with the Bear.
There'll be a lot of swearing in the Ask Bear tech support line.
I look at Friends Tech and they go, it's not working right, and I just look at it and it's full, clogged up with rubbish.
Yeah.
Just clear it all.
Exactly. Oh, keep a little low from Sajid Mahmood. And ducked and went through the keeper, and there's no run. The other person he looks like is, that Scouse actor who's in things like Made in England. I even worked on a job with him, but I can't even remember his name.
Made in England.
Was it Made in England? I think it was on Channel 4.
Oh, the TV series?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the lady who's
Yeah, you know
in,
the Scouser guy.
Line of Duty.
Yeah, the little Scouser guy who's in everything with a sort of square head.
Graham. Somebody Graham.
I worked on a job with him once. I still can't remember his name.
Right. Alan.
Driven. Nicely driven by Camphor, but he can't beat Morgan at cover. And there's no run. And
can you let Al back in?
Oh yeah, I can do. Where's the bloody pointer?
Actually, while we're doing that, whilst we were discussing various reasons for Vince bowling, although it doesn't complete sentence, there is potentially an issue of overrate. I think the points against are quite penal in this new tournament.
Well, yeah, again, you wouldn't do that in the 10th over, would you?
But why would you bring on a medium pacer?
Exactly, you claw that back at the end when that's obvious. And I can't see there being a time issue here, really. That's a nice shot by Camphor, actually, behind the square. Races away to the boundary for another one.
2 plus 2 is on my
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
You all just stopped.
It seems to be an issue everywhere around the net today. But there was that big thing, wasn't there? There was a couple of West Coast American service providers had troubles a week or so ago. Shut down large parts of the internet. We're so reliant on this shit, man. Saj Mahmood comes in, bowls, and Camphor leaves it outside his off stump. There's no run.
Billy Bishop has just let me know he's bowled 5 overs, 2 for 12.
Oh yeah,
against Egham today. So it's not bad. Nice. Little return for him.
That is good going. 2 for 12.
Made 39 the other night off not very many. 39 not out. I said, well, that'll do your average no harm.
Marvellous. Just to let you know, and those people who got t-shirts, you can get a t-shirt by patroning us. We got X stock left over, and as a little added bonus for being lovely people who patron us $10 a month, you can get one of these t-shirts. There's limited edition originals, and they're very limited edition, i.e. we've got 3 ladies size L and 3 ladies size medium. But this is an original one that when we originally started and we were live, that is out. Tucker, did he go to sweep that?
He went to sweep at a ball that was almost too wide outside his off stump.
He was too busy looking at t-shirts and not using his
bat
exactly.
Properly, I thought they'd gone to a break and they suddenly came back, and the next thing it was fucking flying in the air. Let's have a look at it. Al-Rashid comes in, bowls. I think it's a normal leg break. It was very full. He's trying to fucking hoik that from a long way out to the offside. That's a horrible shot. Lost his balance, fell over, got underneath it, chopped it into the air. Topley's caught it, short fine leg. And to be quite honest, Lorcan Tucker, that was really quite shit. But hey ho, you're gone.
What you get with premeditated stuff.
Well,
may I just catch up on tweets because we're way behind. Neymar Butlins, I once tried pitching with a radar gun in San Diego. The ball went 30 miles an hour and I felt as though I put my shoulder out. Message, there's a serious dilemma in the news today. England may need to choose between pubs or schools. Okay, closed schools, closed pubs, drinking schools, teaching pubs. Nice idea. I like the last one, Messrs. Is his poll? Rosamundi says separate bubbles for the ODI and test teams. They are effectively separate teams. They are indeed. You are correct.
Well, they are.
Yep. Leah says don't be so negative, Bear. Afghanistan boasts a 50% win rate in tests, much better than India all time. Well, on rather less tests, but point taken. Pirate Badshah. Koshik could do. Pirate Badshah, you'll have to. How do I say that phonetically? Koshikudaki. Says, and it's Simi singing next, so I'm going to read that at the end of this next over because it's quite long.
Simi Singh, he has a good jingle if I remember it rightly. Anyway, could have been out first ball, but he got a bat on it. It's straight as on, a bit of a top spinner from Adil Rashid. And it goes on. He does get a bat. That's a terrible shot.
I mean, it's a ball you should be that should be going through extra cover.
Well, exactly. I mean, that sort of shot's he just never got anywhere near it. Defended by Simi Singh, out into the covers, Morgan Fields, and there's no run. Let's have his jingle.
Selectors, can you see me? Sing out if you can.
We used to have a Simi Singh singing, Oh, that's a horrible full toss. Clipped, only as far. Oh dear, poor fielding by move. They'll get through for a single. I'm sure that'll get Simi Singh off the mark. He does indeed. Camphor comes on.
That was Adil Rashid's 150th ODI test wicket. Oh, sorry, ODI wicket.
In 102 matches, not too bad. Oh, that's a googly, and Camphor goes right back in his crease, but he watched it onto the bat quite nicely and just plays it out to mid wicket, and there's no run.
Encouragement for all there.
Indeed.
Camphor can pick it. Rashid wants him back there.
Well, yes. I wish I hadn't done that bet now. I'm really annoyed. If I'd known he was South African, god damn it, you lot. It's defended out in the offside, and there's no. No, sorry, it's not defended. He lets it through to the keeper. Just raises his bat to Camphor. Propping forward.
Right, I'm going to run at these tweets now.
Go for it.
Bad Shah. Don't think this being a second string England matters in a context where the pool of players is much larger. Put bluntly, it's easier for the larger sides to come from a cold start than a smaller side. I don't think many fans in the big three fully appreciate. Yes, I think that's a point.
I
well
think we
made.
do. I mean, yeah, we obviously know that.
Don't appreciate that the structural advantages that scale and financial power accord them. No, you're absolutely right. Knuckle Pandy says Andy Balbirnie joins John Hastings, Adam Voges, Craig Keyswetter, Geraint Jones and Steve Eskenazi as batters dismissed in professional cricket by James Vince. Oddly, given his whole career has been at Hampshire, this was his first at the Rose Bowl. Chris TB says very South African accent, has only been in Ireland for about a month. He's talking about Chris Camphor. Yes, that's correct, he has. Leah says Mogami seems to be well aware that we argue different points, yet we do it for comedic value, Tony. Oh well, it works, so thank you for carry on as before. Jay Grover says Bear was working with Larry Grayson. Were you?
No, I've never worked with Larry Grayson.
Highly unlikely. Kate Holdsworth, Bear's lack of memory makes me feel a lot younger than I am.
It's getting worse as I get older, I have to say. Well, Moeen Ali's back into the attack. He did bowl a couple of overs earlier.
Yeah.
And Simi Singh is facing. He defends his first ball back down the track. Right, no run. Will I give him another jingle? I'll give him again in a bit. He's in, bowls. Goes right across. That one doesn't turn. Just defends it out on the offside. There's no run. Let's go.
Our bed shouldn't touch. Move over, AMLO. I like it too much. Move over, AMLO. You're one hairy dish. I love unconditionally. It's Moeen Ali.
His next delivery is defended back down the track and ain't no run. Oh, that was a horrible run out. I didn't see that one. Was that Simi Singh getting run out in the last test?
Yeah.
ODI. Cut nicely by Simi down to James Vince, who's at backward point, and he'll get himself another little single.
That would have been the same two batsmen at the crease, I think.
Yeah. That one, yeah, this is the big partnership, wasn't it? The one thing they don't do is, and this is really noticeable between even, people at the lower ratings of the supposed top 8 of ODIs, is clip down the wicket and there's no run. And this is what the affiliate sides generally don't do very well, is keep the run rate up to what's required these days, which is, starting at 6 and letting it sit somewhere between 5 and 6 and then going. That's cut hard, but straight to James Vince, who's come up to point for Camphor, which is always going to put you under pressure. I mean, a run rate of 3.21 at 29 overs for
I think the field is a slightly more. It's not an attacking field, but it's not a field that's going to go and concede 5 and 6 and over. These what we might describe as the easy singles of the boring middle overs probably aren't there.
No, but that's because whether it's technique, experience, whatever, they're just not finding. They're not able to work the ball. Once again, Adil Rashid pulls out of a delivery. It's going to be his first over, his first ball of his 8th over. He's got 3 for 19 so far. I bet he's loving this. He's bowling to Simi Singh. Tosses that up. It's horrible fucking delivery. Gave that shed loads of air. I think he must have cut the pace down. In fact, it's given as a wide. It was that shit.
Wide.
I don't know what he was trying there. He's got a great beard though, Adil Rashid. He's got a point. That's what I'm trying to get. That's 2-leg side, and that's going to be 4 byes. Bairstow couldn't get down. It was a terrible ball. Went straight on, but it started way outside leg stump. And it's going to be Well, it should be 5-1, shouldn't it? What are you going to do? The umpire's just sort of standing there, not making up his mind. Looking a bit constipated, to be honest. No ball? Why is it a no ball? Really?
How is that a no ball?
It wasn't a no ball. It was a fucking wide. I mean, yeah, it's not a free hit, so it's not a no ball. Oh, it is a no ball. Fuck me.
Why is that a no ball?
Why is that a no ball?
I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not entirely sure what. I'm just echoing out here. I just don't know. We didn't see anything that said it was a no ball. Hit hard by Simi Singh. It was basically banged into the middle of the track by Adil Rashid and slammed it out to cover.
73 miles an hour. So Adil Rashid can bowl as quick as James Vince.
Oh my word! It was
no,
a no ball.
Front foot, no ball.
It was a front foot from Adil Rashid. That's terrible.
Now, part of the Spinners Union there.
No, I've never bowled a no ball in my life, Al. Never. Tossed up. Cut nicely by Camphor. Beats Moen, who's just about a point. Sam Bennings races around from deep cover fields. He wangs it back into Bairstow to get 2.
That brings up Ireland's 100 in the 30th over.
That's poor.
This is like going back to the 1975
well,
World Cup,
that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, that's, yeah. Adil Rashid is in, bowls, tosses it up. Camphor tries to larrup it through the leg side, but clips it straight to mid-wicket with James Vince again. He's everywhere, Fields.
He's a magnet, that boy.
Yeah, he's a ball magnet. We're going to have a change at the end of this over. Adil Rashid in, bowls. That's another googly. Camphor goes right back in his crease, plays it up to mid-on. There's no run. At the end of this over, it's going to be Al. He's going to do ball by ball. Nestlers is going to be socialing, and Hendo is going to be summarising. And of course, I'll be sitting in the background. Straight on, Camphor tries to wallop that again through the mid-side. Doesn't get enough of it. It's up near the stick. I keep thinking it's Shia LaBeouf batting now. And it goes straight to mid-wicket. There's no run.
James Vince has transformed from a batsman into a bowler.
The wicked fielder as well.
In transformer mode.
Well, he's always been a fair fielder, that's to be fair. That was tossed up outside the off stump and defended. Well, driven, half driven, block driven, straight to cover. No run. We're going to have a switcheroo now.
We are.
Al's going to move into that seat. Nestor's is joining us. Hendo is joining us. I'm going to disappear. Tony's going to disappear. And we will all see you later. Bye.
Thank you, Bert. Thank you, Tony. Well, Hendo, Nestle boy, what have you missed in the last 10 overs? It's been all action.
Well, I missed the last 20 overs actually, Al.
Yeah,
to be honest, I've been watching since then.
You've missed Bear being Nostradamus.
Oh, have I? What was Bear doing then?
Bear picked the googly, the ball before O'Brien didn't. As Ali comes in for the first ball of the 31st over, and this is driven down to longer on, I think by Singh there. Single taken off that first ball. Sorry, Hendo.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is that if you're sitting behind the googly, you can see it better than if you're facing onto it.
Ali there with the ball turns onto leg stump, and Camphor tries to turn that ball onto the leg side. Mid-wicket runs round to his right and does the fielding. No single taken. You get the feeling they might have to take a couple of these sharper singles as we get later on inside the innings, as Ali comes in, and that's a well-flighted ball that again Camphor tries to turn through mid-wicket, and Banton it is who does the fielding. No run. Ireland 103 for 6 midway through the 31st over. Camphor 10, Singh 4. Ali in the middle of his 4th over, and he comes in, and that's slightly wide and gives Camphor maybe the opportunity to step back and try and cut that ball, but he swings and misses and goes through to Bairstow. No edge, no run. Maybe slightly bounced more than Camphor was anticipating with that. And it's well pitched up, the 5th ball of the over. Attempt to drive down to long on, but Ali will intervene, and there's no run. And we're quickly through to the last ball of this 31st over. And Ali comes in, and that's worked off the hip down to longer off. There is a single taken. Camphor will retain the strike. He's on 11. Ireland 104 for 6. Nestle boy, we got any tweets, mate?
We have. Jeff Perkins, he says he hacked the Bears system and all he got were beer coins. Pirate Badshah as Tony tried to pronounce Koshi Kudaki, which is a sumo term and means inadvertent collapse. If you read Larry Grayson's autobiography, says Jay Grover, there's a large index notation for bears. Mr. Walker's memory being what it is, who can we trust?
Who can we trust indeed?
Dutchbird says Bear's lack of memory makes her feel a lot younger than she is.
Indeed, it all does. Rashid's first ball of his 9th over is swept away by Camphor, only able to take a single off a partial misfield. This brings Sings onto strike, and he sweeps a ball off middle stump, and that will beat Topley, and that will be 4 runs to Sing.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
We were reflecting, Hendo, in the last Rashid over, the disgrace of a leg spinner bowling a front foot no ball.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. It's going to happen every now and again. Yeah, it was just confusing because we all thought it was wides.
True it was. And that is a ball that straightens Rashid down on one knee, begging for that LBW decision. We haven't had anything reviewed so far. Morgan, with his double cap, is going to let the DRS timer time out. And there will be no review of that LBW decision. I'm sure we'll see it on the replay. Rashid in again. The traditional leg spin. It tried to be cut away by Singh, but only half-heartedly. He only goes as far as Ali in the gully, and there's no run. It certainly didn't catch the bat. Might have been too high. And Ali again takes a step towards his off stump. The googly hits him on the pad, and Rashid looks as if he is a man who has been slighted. Morgan will review that one. It'll be interesting about whether that one was looked any more out than the first one that they chose not to review. Maybe it's the pressure of not reviewing the first one that's allowed them to look at this one.
Bear's not having it.
I didn't fancy that at all. I mean, they hit him on the body, I think, more than anything. He'd gone down to sweep. I thought he'd got most of his body outside the off stump.
The other one was worth the shout, I thought.
It wasn't bad. This one is another googly. It's hit him sort of
It's hit him on the shoulder, but he is incredibly low to the ground. He's certainly not that ball hit him. It's certainly not above the level of the stump. So it's interesting about that, whether that shoulder hitting him is outside the line of off stump.
I think that's going over personally.
It might be outside the line.
Massive stride, but it's, as I say, it's hit him on the right shoulder. He's got through the shot far too early.
He's miles early on the shot, isn't he?
It looks outside the line. I have to say, from the rather inconclusive angle, look how far he starts outside the off stump there. He's miles outside the off stump. That's extraordinary.
That is outside the line, and it was missing the wickets, but apart from that, it was a perfectly fine review.
I think it's good umpiring, actually. A poor review. I mean, I'm getting a little... I feel a bit, I don't know, diffident about this England approach. It seems to me that they're getting a little bit casual.
And that's the last ball of the over. Fuller length ball from Rashid, just blocked out by Singh. End of the over. Ireland 109 for 6. Hendo, you think that we're becoming casual?
Yeah, I do. I think that Adil Rashid has bowled absolutely beautifully, but it's almost as if they've got a little bit bored, and they think they can win this game quite easily, which they probably can. And I feel as if they're not. He's trying a few things there, Adil. I suppose this is a situation in which he could try a few things. I know he got that wicket, James Vince, but what was he doing bringing James Vince on to bowl? It seemed to me a little bit lacking respect of the Irish, I felt. And you'd have thought that Owen Morgan wouldn't do that.
Owen Ali will bowl the 33rd over, and that is outside the off stump, and Camphor tries to drive the ball through cover, but it is a shortish cover who will do the fielding. And there's no run. Ball is thrown back to Ali pretty quickly, and he'll circle in. And that is tried to be driven down the ground. For a minute, it didn't look that there was a long off, but there is a long off. So what seemed to be very diffident fielding indeed turns out to be an easy single taken all round. We're looking at the first of the LBW appeals by Rashid in the previous over, and that was missing leg stump. The ball blocked again down towards long on. Sorry, thank you, Hendo. Long on, and there'll be a single taken. I don't know me offs from me ons. Sorry about that. Do apologise. Nelson for 6. Camphor on 13, not out. This has got all the D's of a superstitious ball. And again, that will go down to long on, peppering my knowledge of fielding positions. Easy singles taken. This is really akin to what Bear was talking about a good ODI team finding a way to be able to manipulate the ball around the field and be able to manipulate the strike in order to keep the run rate going. And that is a slightly wider ball outside off stump, and that will be played through to a deep cover. An easy single taken. Singh will move to double fingers. And Ireland will move on to 113 for 6. Last ball of the over, and that's on leg stump, and Camphor turns that ball behind square, and he'll take another single. An easily milked over there from Ali, not really threatening. What we might describe as a slightly more traditional boring middle over. Ireland 114 for 6. Nestle, how are we for tweets?
Oh, as usual, we're pretty good. Subtle Life says, do you know the Netherlands' record in Test matches? Nope. Messi Jess says, it's hard to believe now, but for a long time the view was that 100 was a perfectly acceptable total after 30 overs. Sri Lanka started to change all that, culminating in their World Cup win in 1996. Discuss.
I think it might have come before Sri Lanka. Rashid in for the last ball of his first ball of his last over. A spinning ball outside off stump, and Camphor tries to slap that through the covers, but it's straight to the fielder, and there is no run. Rashid with figures for 3 for 29 as he comes in for the second ball of his over, and that is a quicker ball darting in towards Camphor's off stump, and he just blocks that to a short cover, and there's no run. Ireland 114 for 6, 33 overs and 2 balls gone. As Rashid turns and fires in again, and that's a good leg break, dip and bounce. It's spun away from bouncing just on off stump, and Camphor looks to try and follow it, but in the end almost just really lets that go through to best out, and there's no run.
Dave Carpenter's with us on Facebook from Bali, which is nice.
Rashid's fourth ball is played with no real trouble by Camphor to a deepish gully, and there's no run from the fourth ball of the over. You can spin the ball a long way, Adil Rashid, and that's tossed up, and Camphor has driven that ball high, hard and handsome right over Rashid's head, and that hits the boundary sponge before anyone's had a chance to move. 4 runs to Camphor. Seems to have it in his locker, Camphor. He's been patient, really.
He played well the other day, didn't he?
He certainly did. He was the best by a mile of the Irish batsmen. I don't think Rashid might mind.
Is he a find?
That. Well, he found his passport, and that's all that counts.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether this one will be the googly, we'll see. As Rashid comes in, and that's a flatter ball on off stump, and Camphor's able to cut that ball. A deep cover. Billings at deep cover will do the fielding. That's the end of Rashid's spell. 3 for 34 off his 10 overs. Extremely well bowled.
Now, I'm always intrigued, but I don't know, like Roger McCann, the background to a lot of these guys, but coming from, Irish parents, how they get into cricket, some of these guys, from given the, Premier League is the top sport, and then you've got hurling and Gaelic football.
Well, Camphor was a South African under-19 player.
Right, but I wonder how some of the other guys, get into it. It's an intriguing one.
Certainly is.
It's not something my time that I've spent over there I've ever seen or heard people talk about much.
True enough. Ali's first ball of his 6th over is slapped away by Camphor in front of square. There's some great fielding done by James Vince, the ball magnet there on the boundary sponge. I think he's saved 2 runs there for his side. Camphor retains the strike, moves on to 22.
Yeah, I know it's a long way, but I didn't remember seeing any cricket grounds in Tipperary.
It's a long way.
It is a long way. It's not that long way, actually.
Ali drags that ball down short of a length, and Camphor pulls that ball in front of square, and there'll be no stopping that, and Camphor moves on to 26. 4 more runs to Camphor.
Listen and you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary, crossing a boundary.
So Camphor has taken a liking to Ali's bowling so far in this over.
Well, they've got to get some runs up on the ball, haven't they?
Certainly have to. And that's slightly more pitched up and a traditional forward defensive shot, as if it was the first day of a test match. And there's no run off that 3rd ball. Ireland 125 for 6. And Ali comes in again, and a watchful forward defensive shot by Camphor straight back to the bowler. And there's no run. Ali in again, and that is, Camphor goes slightly further back in his crease, maybe coming back to a ball he should have gone forward to, and just dribbles that ball into the offside field, and there's no run. Seems a shame that they can bat this way when they're at 5-6 wickets down, Hendo.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just break off. That's just driven up to mid-off. And I thought they recovered quite well after a really slow start. And Balbirnie was looking quite good, played a couple of good shots, and then got out ridiculously to Vince. I mean, that was a horrible way for him to go. Tucker and I've forgotten his name now. The other guy, Tector, I thought were batting quite well. But again, it's that difficult balance between staying there and getting the score moving, and driving down to mid-on when you're trying to clear the man. I mean, it's a way that you can fall, but it's just disappointing for Ireland. They show ability in patches, but they just can't bring it all together, it seems.
So Rashid has reached the end of his spell, and he will be replaced by Mahmood, who will bring an awful lot more pace back into the England attack. Shall we... And that is right on a great length, just outside off stump. Singh tries to drive the ball away, only finds the couple-point fielder, as the dulcet tones of the Chris Christopherson film Convoy fade away into the background.
Apologies if you can hear it from outside here in Epping Forest, but it's the monthly slaughtering of the young children outside that's going on.
Is the ice cream man outside? Is that what it is?
It's just these screaming kids, and it sounds like genocide.
Nothing like that here on the Wirral, as that is short of a length, and Singh just pulls that, deflects the ball gently before it hits him square in the chest, and it is fielded by Bairstow as he runs towards a backward square leg, having to do the fielding. Singh will be very grateful for that single. He's on 11.
First of the month, we always like to batter them.
Is that just an Essex thing, or
Yeah, Epping Forest especially.
Epping Forest, yeah.
It's a tradition.
Can't beat good old-fashioned traditions.
No, got to keep them.
As that is driven by Camphor, but only as far as the point fielder, and there's no run. He does look like maybe he's one spot slightly too low in the order, Camphor. I know he's probably there because of experience, but I can see him doing a job slightly higher up in the order. Seems a shame to waste this sort of stickability and talent when you're coming in at 7 and 8 in the batting lineup.
Yeah, he looks positive, doesn't he?
Yeah,
looks like he's up for it.
He certainly does. As Mahmood comes in again, and that is a good ball just on off stump, very probing length. He's there at 86 miles an hour as Camphor just blocks that ball to cover, and there's no run. Ireland 126 for 6. Camphor 26 not out, Singh 11 not out in this 36th over. I think our early estimations for maybe a score of 240 are probably going to have to be revised downwards. I think 200 at this pace would be a heck of an improvement. As Mahmood is in again, and that is short, and that is pulled away by Camphor, or at least attempted to be pulled away. I think that's probably come off a top edge or glove. It is fielded down at Topley by long leg, and they'll run through for 2 runs. Certainly aggressive intent by Camphor. I think that might have been a little bit quick for him, but positive running. And there's a warning. I think that's the 1 bouncer for the over.
We seem to have lost Hendo temporarily. Oh, there are some people who are coming seem to do running repairs to the pitch. Maybe this is the time for a drinks break. That must be the end of the over. We thought there was 1 ball left, but it turns out it's the end of the over. How are we going for tweets, Nestle Ball?
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion from my question about cricket in Ireland. Seems to be a kind of a around Dublin, maybe Cork. Although Joe Grover says it's a long way to Tipperary, was one of the most insidious earworms of my childhood forced upon me by my mother. Damn you, Nestlers. Public schools in Ireland, says Mark Zitt, with an Anglo heritage. Significant playing numbers, William Francis says, over here. In Dublin, for example, you'll typically see players in whites in Phoenix Park, in Trinity College and other green spaces in the summer months. Some people saying posh schools in Ireland. Martin McGuinness was a big cricket fan, bizarrely, says Jersey Oakley. That's right, he was. Dave Wood said, is my genocide being conducted by the Ratko Mladic lookalike, Gorilla Hender? No, he's not here.
He's not here. Well, he's not here, which means he could be in the forest.
He could be. William Francis says, with recent immigration patterns, you also see some informal games on beaches and basketball courts. Certainly the case here in Galway. So, it's an interesting one. It's just like, when I first went over to Ireland in the 70s, especially where my dad's from, in Tipperary, my mother was from Mayo, it was all hurling in Tip, big hurling county. Mayo was fishing and golf, as far as I remember, although they do play hurling and Gaelic football there, obviously.
Well, if you're not going to do fishing in that part of Ireland, then you're never going to do it anywhere, are you, really?
No, and she lived right on the coast in Clew Bay, which is absolutely stunning. My family is still there in Newport, but it's an interesting one. But as time goes and people pick it up, hopefully it will get better and better.
Yeah, it's just becomes. I think it's the start of a long journey. It becomes about generations of young talent coming through and being given exposure, and some will be found out, some won't be good enough. But if you can unearth the right number of gems, then away you go. It just brings more people into the sport.
And like here, it's getting them away from the Premier League and football, and which is very easy to do with your mates, and possibly, I don't know what the numbers are for hurling and Gaelic football these days with the youth. But the Premier League sort of dominates as well.
Yeah.
When I'm wandering around looking, kids are all wearing football shirts. They're not wearing hurling or Gaelic football shirts, as far as I could see. It's an interesting one.
Absolutely.
I think hurling is massively popular still. Look at the crowds that they get for that.
The All Ireland finals at Croke Park,
they get massive support.
But from a point of view of kids kind of rocking up and playing a game on a Saturday afternoon, it's not jumpers for goalposts with hurling. It's a bit more brutal than that.
Oh yeah, it's a brutal game. I I think they're fighting almost a losing battle in Ireland. I think it's going to take ages for cricket to get that kind of profile, and they need to be successful. And the difficult thing is when you're playing against bigger countries with much better resources like England, and it's hard to be successful. It can be a bit demoralising.
Well, for years and years, they wouldn't allow rugby to be played in Croke Park.
Well, yeah,
because it was an English game.
Now, with problems that we had when we were over in Ireland for the Test match, the notion that anyone would want to sponsor us doing cricket was, well, what's cricket in Ireland? They're always struggling against much more popular sports, much more glamorous sports, perhaps you might say as well.
We are going to have the last ball of Mahmood's over, and I can explain why it is that we took an impromptu drinks break in just a moment. As that ball is driven through the covers, but a deep cover will restrict Camphor to a single. He'll move to 27. The reason that we had that extended drinks break was because the pull shot that Camphor tried to play that we thought might have come off a glove or a top edge actually came right off the top of his helmet. So there was a change of equipment, and there was a compulsory mandatory check of Camphor's health.
Well, Al, I thought it was because my internet went down and you were all missing me.
Well, to be honest, Dan, you did an amazing. You totally froze, and then I was like, I'm sure he was like that the ball before, and I started to worry. I thought my commentary had sent you to sleep, sir.
Well, I thought it was all your problem because you were the people who seemed to be freezing, but it might have been my problem after all.
We'll aim at a 6 and 2 threes as Ali will bowl his 7th over, and Camphor is able to stand back in his crease, and he will just gently play that ball to Willie, who is fielding at long on, and jog through for a single. Camphor at 28, which means that Bear's bet is nearly down. As Ali comes in for the second ball of the over, and Singh gets a good stride forward, tries to work that through mid-wicket, but only finds the mid-wicket fielder without him having to move an inch, and there'll be no run. Ireland 130 for 6 as Ali comes in, and that's a slightly more floated ball, and Singh again tries to drive that ball through mid-wicket, but again only finds the mid-wicket fielder. A restrictive job so far in this over by Moeen Ali as he comes in for the 4th ball of the over, and Singh again goes back in his crease and must be making all these other fielders feel a little bit left out. He's just playing fielding practice with the mid-wicket fielder, 3 balls in a row, and that's more lofted by Ali, and this time he beats the mid-wicket fielder, but that's because he's playing the ball straighter down towards long on. He'll take his single, he'll move to 12 and move the total on to 131 for 6. Just this last ball of the 37th over left to go. And that's slightly back of a length, and Camphor is able to rock back and cut the ball away, but only find a deep point fielder. He'll take a single, he'll move on to 29. Ireland are 132 for 6. We got any tweets?
Let's have a look, see, well, there's quite a few coming through. Derek Willis says, my grandmother grew up in County Mayo in the West, and we might be related, Derek. I've stupidly not been looking forward to it when the Americans become eligible to travel again. Pirate Badshaw says, the posh schools thing is very much the south side thing. You don't really get that here in North County Dublin, or the south side, north side Dublin thing is a thing, although obviously the wealthy have structural advantages that help them achieve prominence.
Mahmood will bowl his 6th over, and that is driven away through the covers by Camphor, deep cover fielder. Sam Billings it is who mops up, just restricts Camphor to a single. Really, his straight drive of Rashid, the only boundary that I can remember seeing in the last 5 overs or so.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing though. Well, I mean, I think they need to play like this to have any hope in this game. They've got to get up somewhere around 200. So they don't want to be throwing wickets away. Because they can't throw wickets away, they can't play many big shots.
Sure enough. Absolutely right, Andy. And that is short, and Singh pulls that ball right in front of his eyes. And that is fielded by deep square leg. And Pretty awkward throw for Bairstow to have to deal with. As it's slung in on the bounce. Must have kept a little low for Johnny Bairstow. 2 singles taken off the first 2 balls of the over. Ireland 134 for 6 in this 38th over. Mahmood in his 6th over, 0 for 23 so far, 5 overs and 2 balls. As he comes in, and that's a ball that's absolutely ripped through Camphor for pace. Maybe going too much down the leg side for Mahmood's LBW shout, although it's going to be given as leg buys. Morgan seems to be deliberately not making eye contact with his bowler in order to try and get the point across that this will not be reviewed. But that did seem to be an extra yard of pace that Camphor was not prepared for.
Yeah, it's a good ball as well, isn't it? It came back into him. It's missing by, fair way, 3 or 4 inches.
3 or 4 inches, but certainly had him in all sorts of trouble. As Mahmood comes in again, and that is guided down behind, just to the left-hand side of Gully, and Ali at third man will do the fielding and restrict Camphor to a single.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Camphor has to stay there, that's absolutely crucial. But we've seen that McBrien, who comes in next, he batted really well on Thursday. It was a big disappointment when he got out. Yep. He played a couple of beautiful drives and then pulled, I think it was Tom Curran down deep square legs throat. And Ireland could have gone on and got 200, 215, 20 then if he'd stayed there. But at the moment, Singh's doing a reasonable job as well, 14 off 25. And with McBrien to come, they need to push up to as near 200 as they can get.
No. Between the 3 of them, I think it is between the 3 of them, as that is almost cutting Camphor in half. Sorry, Hendo.
I think Camphor must have taken quite a lot of confidence from that innings as well, the 59 that he got in the first knock, because he's looked untroubled really, apart from this over now when Mahmood's got through his defences a couple of times. He's looked like he's really known what he's doing.
Yeah, even with the knock on the helmet, it really doesn't seem to have affected his confidence too much. Would have thought that Mahmood might have tested him with another short ball, just to see how his mindset was. And that is a full length ball, and that's been heartily driven. Bump ball, given the lack of excitement by all fielders and batsmen alike. And that's the end of the over. Nestle boy, have we got any more musings on the infrastructure of Irish geography?
Just going back, Pirate Badshaw said that hurling is substantially less popular than Gaelic football. I mean, it's a shame. I love hurling. The Gaelic footballers play a hybrid game with Aussie rules. Yeah, I've seen that. It's just a bloody mass brawl. Josie Oakey says the hurlers also play a hybrid game with the Scottish shinty players. Really odd, because shinty is more of a ground game and use different sticks. The respective teams stick to using their own sticks. It's a great game to watch, hurling. It really is exciting.
No, it's fabulous. I like watching all the GAA stuff.
My dad used to play a little bit of it.
And it will be Ali coming around the wicket to Singh to start his 8th over. And Singh plays that ball down to long on and will take the single.
And of course, my dad thought they were all soft these days, wearing padding and helmets.
Ali will carry on with this around the wicket line to Camphor. Camphor tries to drive that ball, but only finds mid-off, and there's no run. Very quick work at Ali, and that's tries to drive that even straighter. But Ali is able to work back and dive and collect the ball in front of the stumps, and there'll be no run. Ali back at his mark and comes in and flights that ball up. And Camphor again looks to get on the front foot, looks to drive, but mistimes it only back to the bowler, and there'll be no run again. Ireland 137 for 6. Just 2 balls left of this 39th over. And slightly flatter ball from Camphor, who looks to try and push that ball towards point and cover point. They did start to try for a single, but quickly think better of it as Bairstow's on it in a flash, and there's no run. Just this last ball of the 39th over now, and Camphor looks to try to get that ball to long on and succeeds a desperate attempt by mid-on in order to try and stop the ball. He'll take a single and he'll move on to 31. Just this one over left in my spell. And I believe it's Grubby who's going to be joining you as I take my leave of you in an over's time.
Grubby, Hendo and Tony, I believe.
Ah,
a dream team.
Oh, gorgeous. Lovely to see Grubby.
It will be
lovely to see Grubby.
You'll see him in 6 balls time.
Oh, I can hardly wait.
The only man I know with a better beard than Adil Rashid.
Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, God. That's a dangerous thing to say.
It's a bold statement, but I'm going to stick to it.
He does look like a young Brian Blessed.
Gordon's
Job, not as loud.
Well, true enough.
Give him a few whiskies.
Yeah, but just seeing the projected score, 204. If they can get 6 and over from here on in, they get 204.
Yep, that's what we've got to be aiming for if you're Ireland. Mahmood will come in, and that is beating the outside edge of Camphor. There's an appeal for Bairstow. Mahmood thinks he's heard something as well. They're desperately looking to try and find where Owen Morgan is, and he will review this. There will be a review.
That was out. That was definitely out.
Was that definitely out?
No.
All seemed convinced.
Yeah, I mean, bowlers are often convinced. Certainly Bairstow seemed to think he called it.
I'm gonna go to Nostra Bear. Nostra Bear, out or not out, sir?
Well, I've got money on Camphor to get over 47.5, so I'm saying no.
Okay.
It's a lovely ball, leg cutter.
It's a fabulous delivery. It did seem to be late on the shot. Ultra Edge is telling us that
nowhere near
nothing there at all. Nowhere there. Nothing at all.
He's miles late on the shot. There's no way he's got an outside edge on that. And England have quite frankly wasted both of their reviews in this innings. Maybe a sign of Morgan's eye being taken off the ball to some degree. But Camphor couldn't. It was a ball that was too good for him, too quick for him, and so will survive. Maybe we'll never know what they heard or what they thought they heard. But it certainly wasn't ball hitting bat anyway, and that's second ball of the over, and maybe an attempt to drive the ball, but taking a thickish outside edge. And Moeen Ali at third man will do the fielding. Camphor will take a single. Bears bet still lives.
What we're here for.
We see a replay. Bairstow looks as if someone had taken away all his toys at Christmas. He looks thoroughly annoyed that how could that not be given out. Maybe we were spoiled in the test match by seeing how well reviews could be used, as Singh looks to try and guide that ball, but again takes an edge through first and second slip, and that will beat Ali to the sponge and single take 4 runs. Maybe not quite as maybe not. He wanted it to be an awful lot thicker than that, but that was too fine for where Ali was posted, and that was 4 all the way. Mahmood will come in for the 4th ball of this over, and that is a leg side, and it was easily turned away down to a deep backward square. James Vince, I think they're doing the fielding. Singh will take the single. He'll move on to 20. Camphor on 32 not out. Ireland 144 for 6. These two batting the way they are, then 200 plus really shouldn't be too much of a problem. We'll see if the dream team can take them through to that what might be a slightly more competitive total with the next 10 overs. Mahmood in, and that is more on middle and leg stump, and Camphor just plays that ball towards mid-on, and there's no run. So this is the last ball of my spell. Who is it who's doing ball by ball for the last 10 overs? Is it you, Hendo, or is it Grubby?
Oh, it's Grubby.
Grubby. He will take the
reins?
The captain's chair.
Oh, the captain's chair, okay, fair enough.
the helm, the reins. We're all cliches here. Normally I avoid cliches like the plague, but hey. Anyway, last ball of this over, and that is a good full-length ball, and that's well driven by Camphor. He's a bit unlucky to not get 4 for that, but Willie will restrict him to a single, and that's 145 for 6 with just 10 overs left to go, and the dream team will take you there.
Thanks very much, Al. Hi, it's Grubby here. I think Tony's entered the booth of dreams as well, haven't you, Tone? Hello, Tony.
I am here in the booth of dreams, Grubby.
And hello to you, Hendo. How lovely to see your tremendous, gorgeous, smiling faces.
Oh, thanks, Grubby. It's lovely to be here. What have you been up to today?
Today, I've been driving back from East Devon.
Oh, really?
Yes, where we spent the last few days holed up in a farmhouse, exploring East Devon and West Dorset.
Did you see any other humans?
Well, we were with a few.
Oh, right.
Sort of in-laws and the like, and cousins, and 11 of us in this farmhouse, all scattered around each other, wondering how close we're allowed to stand to everyone. Well, that's a caper. But anyway, it's a delight to be back here. I've very much missed Gorilla. The last time I was due to be on was rained off. So, that's what it's been. But back here at the Aegeus Bowl, it looks like Big Dave Willie's coming back into the attack.
You think the people would have had enough of Willie and Angel?
And he starts with a short ball to Camphor, who turns it around the corner. A pull shot behind square, and he's going to get a single. We've batted nicely, these two together. Camphor and Singh put on over 50 now, which gives Ireland at least semblance of a total. 146 for 6.
Something about Singh, his bearing or his slightness in a way, but his busyness. It reminds me of Ravi Bopara, Ravi Bot. Maybe we could play his jingle just for the sheer hell of the fact that that's the only chance we get to do it.
Either that or dice cricket, of course.
Oh, that's true.
We can find an excuse, can't we? Willie, left arm over the wicket, bowls a straight ball, to which Singh comes forward and plays it up to mid-on, and there is no run. Yeah, they've batted nicely, these two, haven't they? They've just, I think I heard you saying beforehand, that they can't exactly go completely batshit crazy at the moment because they'll be bowled out for 150, or they would have been.
Yeah.
So they've just sort of built towards it, and look, 200 is not going to be enough. Who are we kidding? But it does at least give us
game.
A bit of a game, a notional game. Yeah.
Well, Camphor carrying on where he left off. He's looked very steady.
Yeah.
50, 59, not out.
Yeah, and a wicket in his first over, was it? This one is going to be called a wide, I should imagine, and shoved across Singh. It looked to be way outside the tram line, but judging by Singh's face, it looks like it's not been called. I think he's got away with one there, if that is the case.
Also, England haven't.
Well, I wonder
to get him out yet.
He came down the wicket, didn't he? And I'm wondering whether he sort of also stepped outside leg stump, and that gave the umpire the opportunity to say, well, you've made that look wider than it actually is.
Well, it was wider than Jofra Archer's in the super over, but let's not go there again. Willie bowling his 7th over, the first in his second spell, is over the wicket to Singh, who wrists it around the corner, and they come through for a comfortable enough single.
Talking of wristing it round the corner, did you hear our earlier discussion about the man with an appendage on his arm?
No.
No. All right. Okay. Well, I won't mention it again.
Was it a bit rude?
It's kind of rude, but it's also a kind of tragic story.
Medically fascinating.
Medically fascinating.
Well, I look forward to hearing about that. Perhaps at the end of this over.
It's basically a bloke with a cock in his arm, Grubby.
Oh, I see. I'm going to go back to Willie after that. This is driven by Camphor to extra cover, where there's a bit of a misfield. And Reece Topley it is who does the actual fielding at mid-off. And the result is no run. Ireland currently snookered on 147 for 6.
You wish to get you up to date with that, really, Grubby. It's about a man who lost his todger and then had one regrown on his arm, and it's now going to be reattached, having been 4 years on his arm. You're speechless, aren't you? You're speechless to that. I mean,
I really don't know what to say, other than he must have been getting used to all sorts of new practices during that Olympic cycle. A shorter ball, an attempt at an uppercut by Camphor, but he gets nowhere near it. It's beaten him. The score remains 147 for 6, and there are
Hence
9.
Hence the old saying, of course, forewarned is foreskinned.
I was going to say I'd never really thought of it in terms of an Olympic cycle, but I think you would have to have incredible stamina to survive with an appendage on your arm for that length of time. Anyway, Derek Willis says, sounds like we need to get Vince back on to make things happen. I think there was a poll earlier, wasn't there, about if schools open, do pubs shut? And Southern Life says it's clear that the preference is for education over alcohol. Really? I find that hard to believe amongst our listeners. Josie Oak says this game has the feel of the last game. Ireland will limp to something under 200 and England will knock them off. It's looking like that, isn't it? I have to say.
It does feel very one-sided, and although there's been a mini recovery from these two, as Mahmood comes in, starts the next over with a ball a bit too leg stumpy, and it is whipped away down to long leg, and it's going to be 4 runs to sing.
2 + 2 is all man.
The batting overall for Ireland has looked pretty mediocre, I would say. I mean, if Lorcan Tucker isn't getting an enormous amount of piss ripped out of him for the way he got out, falling over, trying to sweep one from way outside off stump to a leg spinner, and looking very ungainly in the process. And they've batted. I think they could do with a bit of our friend Toby Radford, couldn't they? They play a lot, playing away from their body a lot. They just look a bit amateurish, I would think. This is an attempt at running down to third man, but all he's done is edge it through to Johnny Bairstow, and Mahmood has a well-deserved wicket, I would say. I mean, all right, we're in the last knockings of this innings, I understand that, and so they are looking to get on with it a bit more now. But there's just another example of sort of 0 foot movement and try and play away from your body, and in the end, you're going to nick off. But a decent hand who's played for his team there, Simi Singh, 25 he got from 33 balls. The score 151-7 now with 8 bit overs left. So, yeah, I mean, they'll be looking at 200, won't they? And hoping they can get there, which they didn't manage quite to do the other day.
Messenger says, in today's Closing the Stable Door news, I'm pleased to advise that the Western Australian government has committed to spend $30 million to improve the WACA, to transform the ground, this is quoted, into a boutique venue that will provide modern high performance and patron facilities, which are one of these things. Maybe Tony can translate that marketing speak for us. But I have to say, they've just built a new stadium in
right across the river
to replace the WACA. To replace the WACA. So why are they doing up the WACA as well? It does seem odd. Tell us more about that message, as it seems weird. I mean, I like the WACA a lot, and by all accounts, this other stadium doesn't have the character of the WACA, but it probably has more places that you can escape from the sun.
People don't die of sunstroke.
Yeah, exactly. Pirate Badshaw says, just a final point. The demographic evolution of the state is in favour of North County Dublin compared to everywhere else, with concentrations of clubs, so you'd expect more and more players to emerge in the years ahead, especially those from an Asian background, which is a decent point. Josie Oakey says, the dream team, yeah, they're putting me to sleep. Oh, thank you very much.
Right, the new batsman's in. We'll jingle him up in a moment. He's going to be off the mark straight away with a red ball single to mid on, and the new batsman is indeed this chap.
He's Andy McBride, he's Andy McBride. Now some say he's a genius and others say inside. He's handy with the ball, he holds them all in thrall. He's Andy McBride, Brine.
Well, he was very nearly walking back to the pavilion after his very first ball, because he would have been run out with a direct hit, but he survives. Camphor defends the next ball up to mid-off, and there is no run.
First time I hear that jingle, I always hear is Andy McBride, which I'm sure it is. But then I think it changes it midway through to McBride, doesn't he?
Oh, does he?
Yeah. If you listen to it again, I think our jingler corrects himself mid-jingle.
Well, that's brilliant. That's sort of that's working in the moment, isn't it? It really is.
We thought it's not really worth re-recording it.
A bit of on the fly self-producing.
He was right.
This ball just outside off stump from Mahmood, and Camphor cuts it backward of square. Moeen Ali does the fielding down at third man, and they come through for a single.
Yeah, he almost played that shot too well, didn't he? Hit it too hard, and 10 yards either side of Moeen Ali might have got a 4 for that, but it's just a single. Good grief, is there a grubster somewhere under that beard? Welcome home, Grubby, says Messy Jez.
Hello, Messers. You've seen me before, you big old bear.
I mean, it's not as if Messi hasn't got any facial hair.
He's covered in the stuff, isn't he?
Absolutely, all over the place.
McBride faces up. one not out. He gets a short ball and expertly just stands there and ramps it down to find third man for a 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, played that very well actually, didn't he, after his rather harebrained beginning to his innings. But he batted okay for them the other day as well, didn't he, up into some level of respectability.
Yeah, he batted really well, and in fact was just looking good when he got himself out for 40. GC listeners hopelessly divided as to what should happen in the choice between schools and pubs. 22% say close schools, 28% say close pubs, 22% say drink in schools, 28% say teach in pubs. You got a favourite way of dealing with...
I think they're missing the obvious one, which is to teach drinking in schools.
Oh, there is that, I suppose.
It doesn't seem to be mentioned. So at least you can bring on the next generation of young drinkers.
We've got to coach them up, and we've got to find that talent somewhere. This is David Willey starting a new over, and Campher turns it behind square on the leg side, and they're going to hair back for 2 there. Very well run. So that ups the score to 159 for 7. But yeah, you think to make England sweat, they needed really to be looking at 300, and they're obviously not going to get anywhere near that.
It's not an easy wicket to bat on, I don't think. I mean, England thought they were on a cakewalk in the previous game, and they quickly found themselves 4 down, and the ball not coming onto the bat as they would want.
So Campher, who so far has 90 odd runs without being dismissed in this series, has a big old swipe at this one. It does evade the fielder out there, and it just about makes its way to the boundary. As Billings chasing that in vain, and it's 4 more.
It's me, Sanshi. It's me, Sanshi.
Great comeback from David Willey, isn't it? I mean, there's been lots of talk. I think the word redemption is overused in a sporting context. It's a bit of a well-worn trope, isn't it? But he certainly has, after the massive disappointment must have been last year of being left out of that squad. He was the man to make way for Archer ultimately. Went away, spent some time away from the games, tinkered with his action, I understand, as well a bit.
Slightly earlier release, higher release.
Higher, yeah. Controlling whatever swing there might be a bit better. And, by Jingo, he's come back pretty well. This is defended down into the gully region. They're through for a quick single there. It was McBride with the call, which turned out to be the correct one. And the score rocks under 164 for 7, halfway through the 43rd.
He's also been helped a little bit here by Paul Sterling, who's twice gifted his wicket. Pretty moderate shots.
Yeah. Yeah, and the little bit of swing that there has been with the new white ball, he's certainly exploited, hasn't he, in both games.
What does he think has been added to his game? Just a little bit more pace?
I think he was saying he was releasing the ball just a shade too late, i.e. coming too much through with his arm action before releasing it, and he's just held that back a little bit and released at a higher point.
And this one is clipped nicely through mid-wicket by McBride. He's going to pick up another single. Yes, I think what I was hearing earlier on was a higher release, I think, as you said there. So instead of sort of falling away to as the bowler looks at it, a kind of as you look at it straight on, a 1 o'clock release is more of a midday release, if you will. I'm not Rodney Marsh. I'm going to pull you off at half time.
Yes.
Normally only get an orange. Here comes Willie again, round the wicket this time, and another nice looking sort of rampish shot down to third man, to a shorter ball from Campher. Almost too high, I suspect, as well, but got away with it. But 1 more run to the total.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what he's saying. He's releasing it. Does he feel he must be benefiting in some way from doing that? What is it making him do? Is it making him bowl a bit fuller? I mean, fullness is what he looks for as a swing bowler, isn't it?
Yeah, and a bit more control, I think, of that swing.
Okay.
He felt that he was lacking. But either way, he's gone away. He's done some tinkerage. He's back in, albeit this COVID times bubble of a one-day team, and 5 wickets the other day. This is turned around the corner by McBride down to long leg, and he's going to get himself another single. That's the end of the 43rd. Yeah, end of the 43rd, 167%.
Ombro Nueva says, afternoon lovely gorillas, finally linking up with Hot Mike. Regardless of the result of this series, it's amazing to see international cricket considering the global pandemic. Great experience for Ireland, and great to hear you back covering the Windies and this. And of course, we'll be doing Pakistan come Wednesday.
Yep.
Dutch Watchbird Kate says, please can you play Out the Window at the Fall of the Next Wicket? O-U-T, I can't remember which one that is.
I like that one, Kate.
Okay, fair enough. Teaching drinking in schools. Can I be head of that department, says Josie Oak.
Professor of
drinking.
Juvenile alcoholism.
Aren't you a bit overqualified for teaching in primary schools? I wouldn't let you anywhere near my kids, say that for nothing.
Oh, I think that Wicked Witch Leah's been... well, she thought she'd been banned again, or shadow banned, for calling the COVID idiots denying a global pandemic something beginning with C. I think you know all about that, Grubby.
Only too well. We've got another change of bowling. It's England's other opening bowler coming back into the attack. His first ball is cut to backward point, where there is a man stationed, and they're through for 1. He's like Rambo today, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, I was saying that earlier. Yeah, absolutely. Although some people had more contemporary people to compare him with than me. I don't think I've seen the film.
He's a tennis player. He looks sort of. Well, he was blonde. He'd be sort of Borg-like, wouldn't he?
Or a bit Gerolitis.
Nobody.
A passing resemblance to Del Potro.
Oh yes, actually that's a good call. Yeah, that's a good call. Juan Martin. You don't know who Del Potro is, Tony?
Oh no, I know the name, but I couldn't have told you
he won a US Open, didn't he? Round the wicket comes Topley. It's on leg stump, and Kampfer knocks it to square leg. They're going to come through for at least 1. I think it's just going to be 1 as Vince runs in the boundary to do the fielding. That was a surprise, wasn't it? James Vince coming on to bowl earlier, and lo and behold, getting a wicket.
Well, we were desperately trying to figure out the logic for that, Grubby, and think, what was it? Was it about changing ends? No. Was it because David Willey had gone off, and he had gone off for quite a long time? So we worked out with 3 wicket keepers. By default, he was the 6th choice bowler, and suddenly there he was.
Oh, Topley whistles one past the outside edge of Andy McBride there. Missed that by a good inch or 2, I would suggest.
I don't want to get too excited, but you just see Topley bowling here, and you think you'd like to see him in an England Test shirt, wouldn't you? I mean, that's lovely ball. I mean, okay, this is Andy McBride. He's a decent batsman, no more. But you feel as if that ball would have troubled better players than him.
Pace and bounce, yeah, it looks nice, doesn't it? And it looks with relatively minimal effort occasionally. That said, that was a bit of an effort ball, and it was banged in short, but McBride could not lay a glove on it once more through to the keeper.
Messi just gives us more details about the WACA improvement, expanding facilities for both cricket and football, smaller tests, e.g. against Afghanistan will be played there, as well as the Sheffield Shield, small capacity, 10 to 15,000 but better facilities, and provides a link if we want to know any more about that. Jay Grover says, I've never been to Australia and I'm not au fait with Ocker slang, but look mate, I'll come back to that.
Full delivery, which is driven out by McBride, an inside edge, and it rolls down to long leg. He's going to come through for a rather fortunate single. It's 170 for 7.
The other thing we thought about Vince was his bowling was rather like his batting. Early promise followed by a rapid decline.
Yes, I think that's right. I had a theory that I just felt it was a bit disrespectful of Ireland, to be honest.
I heard that.
And if it was, it just seemed odd that Morgan would do something like that against, his ex-countrymen.
That's a slower ball from Topley. He very nearly chops on here. Kampfer gets an inside edge, and it rolls between that inside edge and the off stump. And he gets a very fortunate one down to long leg. You were halfway through a message, I believe, Hendo.
Oh yeah, from Jay Grover. He says, I've never been to Australia and I'm not au fait with Ocker slang, but look mate, Sterlo's been a bit fucking ordinary, yeah? Is what he was trying to say. Wicked Witch says, you get in line to Josie Oak, this is. I had a guy in my class who was an alcoholic and caught hepatitis before we graduated. He snuck in a shot of vodka every time the teacher turned to the chalkboard. We used to do a similar thing, only it wasn't involving alcohol. We used to throw a cricket ball from one corner of the room to the other while the chemistry teacher turned his back. He was quite lucky that we didn't actually break any what do they call those things?
Windows?
Windows. But no, I was going to say, what other things?
Test tubes.
Test tubes, that's it, yes, those sort of things.
What's a pipette then?
That's the thing you put like eye drops in with.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but you do use them in chemistry.
You use them in chemistry as well.
Yeah. So it's 171 for 7 after 44 overs. Ireland with a veneer of respectability. I'll come back to that Vincing in a minute because I've got a mini theory on that. It's not that interesting, but I'll say it anyway. Camphor defends this one up towards mid-on. Man scampers in from mid-wicket to do the fielding. No run. I think he was just trying to get a couple of cheap ones in. You know, the seamers had started really well. I think there was something like, at one point, they, apart from Topley's first over went for 9, but apart from that, they'd scored like 11 from the other 9 overs or something.
Yeah.
And I think he just thought, I'm just going to fiddle a couple of overs here and toss the ball to Vince, and then it just gives him a bit more leeway later on, should he need it.
Yeah, fair point. Actually, maybe I'm being a bit unkind to Morgan.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he would do that to his countrymen, would he, Owen? Knowingly.
We'd hope not.
This is turned behind square on the leg side by Camphor. Young Johnny Bairstow jogs across to do some gentle fielding there, and they're through for a single. I think it might have been a leg bye, in fact.
Yeah, but I do think, though, a couple of times we've had a couple of possible reviews when Adil Rashid was bowling, and I got the impression that maybe Morgan feels a little bit that he's not being tested enough by this Ireland side. It maybe feels a little bit he's got to make something happen to keep the interest alive in one respect.
Yeah, so England's reviews have been shocking. I will say that. McBride strides down the wicket and batters Willie back over his head. It's a couple of bounces and it's into the sponge for a well-earned 4.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Yeah, the Rashid LBW review where it hit, I forget who the batsman was, but it hit him on the arm as he was attempting a sweep, hit him on the shoulder. So clearly hit him outside the line of off stump. I mean, that was a ludicrous review. Anyone who thought that should have been overturned is
and also
living in La La Land.
Also, it was the ball after one where there had been a much more obvious appeal or review, which wasn't taken.
Yes, McBride turns this one behind square, and they come through for another single.
Yes, McBride is. Sorry, I was going to say, McBride has impressed me with his batting. I mean, I know he's primarily an off-break bowler, but his batting has been very good. He's got some really lovely shots, and I'm not just talking about smashing the ball. He's actually a good player. Why is he batting at number 9?
A little bit wasted at 9, perhaps.
I think he is.
Or they rely on him to rather jack up the innings when a collapse has been fairly predictable.
What, a bit like Tim Murty used to?
Yeah, so well, a fifth man with a 50 in test matches.
Absolutely.
That's,
Willie comes round the wicket to Camphor, who attempts an ugly agricultural swipe across the line. Gets nothing on it. It's through to Johnny Bairstow.
I mean, this pair between them, don't forget, made 40 and 59 not out in the last test.
Well, no, that's my point, though. That's my point, Tony. These are guys. McBride plays proper cricket shots, and I think he's technically a better player than a number 9.
I go along with you, Hendo.
Camphor on 45 faces up to Willie, coming around the wicket to him. He gets a ball that bounced tennis ball stylely outside the off stump, and he launches himself at it. Ball bounces a couple of times before being fielded there at backward point on the boundary, and they are through for 2. That looked rather spectacular, didn't it?
Yeah, I think Willie's bowled a couple of. He's trying to bowl a couple of short ones. One which was a slower short one. That one which looped right up, and I feared for Camphor there. I expected to look up and see that landing in the lap of the man at deep cover, but he's got away with it, and he's batting really well. 47 now, or 75. Can I do some tweets? Derek Willis says, I think the best case for bowling Vince. Oh, hang on, it's just gone off my page. Was to entice Ireland into trying some shots. Also, he tells me, belatedly, Hamid LBW for 68. Yes, I saw that. Nottinghamshire have rather fallen apart in their first innings. That's in the Bob Willis Trophy, of course, is also going on today.
Always pleased to see Hamid in the runs there.
Oh well, that was his debut, wasn't it, for Nottinghamshire? And so that's a promising start. Let's hope he can go on and he gets back that early promise.
Here comes Rhys Topley starting the 46th over. A ball just on the hip of Andy McBride, and he whips it away to square leg, and they come through for a single. The score is now 180 for 7.
Well, they've done better than they did the other day. They've got past 100. What was it? 172, I think they got on Thursday. They were in trouble again with 5 wickets down, be it for a lot more than they had on Thursday at one point. And Curtis Camphor's the man, isn't he? Really is.
Yeah, he looks a great find for Ireland. Round the wicket comes Topley, another slower ball, which is an attempted Yorker, quite well dug out by Camphor, but all he can do is dig it out back to the bowler, and there is no run.
Just looking at Andy McBride's first-class record. I mean, he played. Did thought he played a little bit for Middlesex, Tony. Did he not play Andy McBride at all for Middlesex?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, fair enough. Well, okay, but his first class record, he's got 350s with a high score of 77. He's got a list A high of 89, and he's got 52 not out in a T20. He's got an ODI score of 79.
Another slow ball from Topley, full and wide outside the off stump. Another attempted swipe, which goes precisely nowhere from Camphor. So a good result for the bowler. A dot ball. David Willey is always recognisable with his sort of Bill and Ben style sun hat, isn't he? It's always a bit sort of shabby around the brim edge. Very recognisable figure he cuts.
Just thinking about the fact that Topley's now with Surrey, isn't he? And
yeah.
Jamie Overton's going to join them next summer as well, isn't he?
Yeah, lethal partnership.
Came as news to the Duchess of Exeter.
A nice looking ramp shot here by Camphor. Got into a good position outside the off stump. He predicted quite correctly that it would be another full ball outside the off stump, and he's ramped it very successfully behind square on the onside. Goes for 4, and he gets a 50.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Well batted, sir. 2 50s in 2 games for the young man, and still without an average.
Yes, indeed. Well, that will take him on to, 110 if he gets out now. An average of 110.
Extraordinary shot. He's trying the same thing again, but he changed his mind at the last minute, and square drives it instead on the offside. So he jumped across in the same way he did the previous ball, looking to that sort of ramp shot on the leg side, but right at the last second he adjusted his whole body position and his wrists and drove it square. It was a ridiculous shot, really, but he's seeing it quite well.
Well, it's interesting to me. I mean, this clearly is a lad who's got everything in his locker from what we've seen. The way, quite different types of innings, and he's now really starting to, show some of his versatility.
Yeah.
You wonder perhaps why did he not think about staying with South Africa? Did he think the chance just wouldn't come there?
I don't know what his story is.
Well, he's got an Irish grandmother. We'll hold that for a second.
And this is short, banged in from Topley, and McBride thinks about a pull shot, pulls out of the pull shot, and that's the end of the over. It's 185 for 7 with 4 left.
Yeah, I don't know when he moved to Ireland, but he's already played for South Africa under 19s. I think, in fact, we saw him batting, or was it bowling against England in the under 19 World Cup the other day. They had some footage of that. I don't know. I guess he thinks his chance is going to come much more quickly than it would with South Africa.
There's another bet. Camphor over 47.5. Well done, Bear.
On fire.
Has he put it in his bag? Has he put it in Mash's bag?
Mash's bag, I think, has just been retired, hasn't it?
Is that next to Curtis? Is that next to Curtis Camphor's locker, in which he has everything? I'm going to ask if he's got our spare house keys. I can't find them anyway. Here comes Willie around the wicket, and it is pulled away, and that is 4 runs. 2 short in the hitting zone, and hooked really by Camphor all the way to the boundary.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You know who the 2 left-arm seamers were the last time England played 2 left-arm seamers in the same one-day international side?
Was it Gurney and I don't know who else?
It was these 2. It was these 2 in 2016. And this time he bumped it over the head of mid-off for a 1-bounce 4. Excellent batting from Camphor here, really outthinking Willie. First on the back foot to a short ball, and secondly to the inevitable fuller ball, an attempted little off spinner which he made into a full toss by virtue of a great stride down the pitch, and just bunted it back over Topley's head at mid-off. Sweetly timed.
He's gone up a notch, hasn't he, Camphor, here in the last 5 or 10 minutes? It really has.
Willie again round the wicket, persisting with that line of attack, and it's just dabbed down to third man this time by Camphor. Settles for a single, brings McBride back onto strike. The score looking much healthier, 194 for 7, so it looks like going to sail past that 200 mark, and anything, 220-ish will be something, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, a hell of a lot better than it looked at 70 odd for 5 that they ended up being. You know, I mean, it's a good recovery, and it's at least gives England something to chase. They might do it in 20 overs. You never know with England. If Bairstow and Roy go crazy at the top, it could be over in short time. But it gives them something to play with.
I don't think the wicket's that easy to score runs on there. That'll be interesting if England do.
Yeah, Willie's come back over the wicket and bowls a full ball to McBride, which he drives, and it's fielded there at extra cover, but just tipped around the post by Captain Morgan. They come through for another single.
Jay Grover says, "Oh God, I didn't think about how Annie would react to the Overton news. Was there wailing and gnashing of teeth? Apparently O'Brien persuaded him to defect during a match. Oh my goodness me, that's ridiculous." Well, there you go.
Cricket's tapping up scandal. Uncovered live on Guerrilla Cricket. Always first with the news. That's not our slogan, isn't it?
We're probably about 18 days behind the news generally.
Now we might whisper it to each other on our WhatsApp group before exposing it to the world. Oh my goodness, an extraordinary shot here by Camphor, who basically has played a left-handed ramp shot down to what was his right-handed third man, and it's gone all the way to the boundary for a 4.
A reverse ramp. It was a reverse ramp. He's a joy to watch, isn't he?
He really is
liking his work here.
He's in the zone, isn't he? He's totally in the zone at the moment.
Sorry, go ahead.
The way he's just stepped up in the last 10 minutes and played some quite outrageous shots, but played them with incredible confidence.
Yeah, it's great to watch. I'm of a mind to compare him a little bit to Kevin Peterson, which sounds ridiculous, but when Peterson first came into the one-day side, he already had that brilliant clock in his head, if you like, how to pace an innings, and he'd be going along and you think, when's he going to press the button we need to, and he'd go from 40 to 80 in about 15 balls. You know, he just stepped on that accelerator, and it's a really difficult thing to do, but Camphor is doing something similar here for his team. Very well, he's batting too. This is down the leg side, he's got the bowlers out here, bowling where he wants them to, not where the bowlers want to bowl to, which is exactly the reverse of earlier on. This one he just tapped around the corner. It's a long leg, he's going to strike by virtue of that single. The score is 200 for 7 at the end of the 47th.
Well, his last game he played for South Africa under-19s was against England in an ODI at Scarborough in 2018. So he's played in England a little bit before. I'm just trying to see what happened. Oh, the match was abandoned without a ball bowled. So that wasn't the last game he played. The second one-day international. I'll try and get you some information on this one. Let's have a look. England made, oh goodness me, 251.
What biscuits did he eat in the dressing room?
He didn't get to bat in that game. He took 2 for 47. And I just saw him playing in the under-13 Cubs competition. Cricket Archive is a great resource, actually, if you go to it, because you can find out all sorts of weird and wonderful matches that players have played in that you don't get from any other source, really.
Well, that is amazing. Ireland have scored their fourth 50 off just 35 balls, having taken 70 odd and 100 odd for the first 3, working backwards. So yeah, he's really put their foot to the metal, or whatever you say.
Good for England, in a sense, because you don't want everything to go their way, and he's wrestled back, at least some initiative. He's given England something to think about.
And as someone who wants to see a game of cricket, I'm delighted. It was looking very one-sided early in the innings. Topley starts anew. This is Poole. He doesn't quite time that one, Camphor, but he's going to get a single. So it's fielded by the man running in from the deep mid-wicket boundary.
Yeah, that was
the total.
That was the slower short one from Topley. They're obviously trying to take pace off the ball because he's feeling it so well at the moment, and that he picks up a single, but it did its job in one sense. And McBride's just been watching from the other end for a while, hasn't he? 16 off 13 though. He's batted really well too. These two obviously love batting together.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really make sense not to promote them in the order, does it? If the current lineup is what it is, then it almost smacks a bit of negativity to say, well, you guys bat down there because then when the inevitable collapse happens, you can score us up a bit.
Yeah, well, if you were thinking in that sense, you would have thought that having won the toss, that Ireland would have put England into bat as well. If you are thinking negatively.
He's back over the wicket to the left-handed. McBride is backing away and lofting this like a sort of sand wedge through the offside. Has that been? No, it must have been taken on the bounce by the fielder out there, and they are through for 2. Seemed to time that quite well. but rather lofted it. It was, as I say, it was like a sandwich.
Yeah, he didn't think like he'd hit it that well that he was going to be caught. You thought it was going to drop short.
Yeah, he almost quit on the shot, having got there and got into a good position. If he'd followed through with it, he may have been able to smack it for 6. But anyway, he's back on strike. He's got 18 from 14, batted pretty well. This one's down the leg side. Is anything on that one? If not, it's going to be called a wide, isn't it?
No, I don't think so, because he's gone right across the offside.
Yeah, he has gone right across.
And I think it went over the top of the stumps, although very much higher than the stumps. It actually went over the sort of Midland leg, I would say.
Yeah. So nothing doing there. Dot ball. It was a shorter ball. It was sort of angled in towards him, and as you say, Hendo, he leapt across his stumps to try and play a pull shot, but didn't connect. 203 for 7 with 15 balls left of this innings. This one is through him, a little bit done for pace that time. He's varying his pace here, Topley, and that one was only up around 83 miles an hour, but quicker than some of the slower balls he's been bowling, obviously, and it sort of went through the gate and past leg stump. John Guesto took the ball tumbling away.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I mean, that was a real agricultural swing across the line, wasn't it? But, you know, they're entitled to do that now. They've only got 14 balls to go, so they've got to get what they can. If they can get to 220, I think they'll feel they've done quite well.
From where they were, certainly, yeah. And these two, like you say, they've earned the right to have the odd big swish now with so few balls left. Oh man!
Oh, clever.
He almost played the shot 3 times there. It was another one of those slower ball bounces. Brian got into a position early, thought about hooking it, thought about nudging it into the leg side, then tried to play the hook again, all in the space of the time it was taking the ball to arrive near him, and ultimately it was through to Johnny B on the bounce, and there's no
Johnny
run.
B's looking very angry.
Johnny B,
It's not like him, is it?
Even-tempered Johnny Best, don't you mean?
Yeah. So last ball of the 48th over coming up. It's been pretty good this from Topley, not too many runs from it. And another slower ball. It's just chipped into the leg side. Topley herring across to do his own fielding, and then thinks better of it as someone runs in from the boundary to do it for him, and they come through for 2. Well run again. McBride on to 20. Camphor will be on strike to start the next over on 67, and it's 205 for 7.
Leah the Wicked Witch says, I'm sorry, but comparing someone to Peter Kevinson is an insult only redeemable by the shedding of blood. Which seems a bit extreme. And Pirate Badshaw says, back-to-back 50s, really impressive from Camphor. Yes, absolutely. I may have missed 1 or 2 tweets, but a few of them look like they're just discussions between tweeters, to be fair. 205 for 7. Mahmood is coming back into the attack.
A few people on Crick Tracker, Pragnesh Joshi was saying, crucial match, Ireland are rocking. I don't know if that means rocking as in rocking and rolling, or rocking as in unsteady. Could be either.
They were rocking like bloody Radio Caroline earlier in their innings. But they've certainly made a decent fist of it in the second half of the innings, mainly due to the efforts of Curtis Camphor, who's been ably assisted by Andy McBride, and before him by Simi Singh. But that top order need to have a long, hard look in the mirror.
What do you think, though? Do you think that we could take Gorilla offshore onto a boat, and then we'd be out of contact with the world, so none of us would die from COVID, and it would probably be quite good fun, wouldn't it?
Floating away on our own little gorilla bubble.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Look at cruise ships; they're floating petri dishes.
We'd kill each other, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we'd be like the Shining on water.
Mahmood starts a new over. It's a full ball, and Camphor gives himself a bit of room and slashes it through the covers, and he's going to get another single as the sun makes an appearance at the Ageas Bowl. It's very pleasant there now. Those long shadows in the evening sun, beautiful. Wish we were there.
Leah and Subtle Knife are arguing about Peter Kevinson and Camphor and various things regarding those, which I don't think I'm going to get involved in. Camphor's been brilliant. 68 now. He's batted beautifully. He's timed his innings superbly. Looks like a man who's been playing ODI cricket for about 5 years, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he's had to play a sort of, in one way, a bit of an old-fashioned one-day innings. But he really had to sort of take stock early on because of the amount of wickets that had fallen, and then press the accelerator later on, which is not really the modern way. But as I say, he's had to do it because the match situations dictated that. But he looks like an old hand.
Well, he kind of did that in the first game, but he didn't really have that leeway at the end of the innings to play some of the shots that we've seen today.
Mahmood in and over the wicket to McBride, who flays this one up towards mid-off. A diving Moeen Ali does the fielding, and they come through for another single.
Yeah, 207. We've got 10 balls left. If you're a coach in the nets, you'd say, right, we want 14 or 15 off these last 10, which would take to Ireland to 221, to 222, which would be quite nice.
We had a GPL today. Is there any entrance?
We forgot to mention it, but we probably have.
No.
I don't know if anyone's taken part.
The Bear's vigorously shaking his head, so I'll take that as a no. Camper on 68 gets a ball in the slot, smacks it. Is it going to be caught there at third man? An excellent diving catch by Adil Rashid there, diving forward, taking the catch, and Mahmood has another wicket, which I think he's deserved the way he's bowled. And like anything that Adil Rashid does, it's never a big deal, is it? He's just taken the catch. It was an excellent catch, by the way, and he just sort of wanders in as if to say, "Yep, easy lads."
After you've gone.
So 125 is Curtis Camper's brand new, spanking new ODI batting average. Yeah, he's really been a great find. Played really well there, and he'll be a bit annoyed to be out to that one because it was in the slot, and he was looking to drive it in front of square, rather skewed off the outside edge, and Adil Rashid did the rest.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get a bit lucky when you play the shots and they fly fine and you pick up 4 runs. It's just a little bit unlucky with that, I thought.
Yeah.
But as you say, well bowled by Mahmood.
Yeah,
beautifully judged by Rashid as well. I mean,
It was absolutely minimum of fuss. He just sort of as if he was sort of diving forward to take a low catch is something that he does, 10 times a day.
The Ireland team, of course, who had been playing a fair bit, practicing at the Rose Bowl, had been saying that picking the white ball up against the white seats, empty of any spectators, was actually proving quite hard. But he rather gave the lie to that by judging it as well as he did.
They can easily sort that out. They can put tarpaulins, can't they, all over the seats.
Well, we had that discussion. I think it was the Bear and I, and there was a discussion around the cost of actually doing that being slightly more than you might realise.
Right, we've got a new batsman, Ireland's number 10, more known for his bowling exploits, obviously, coming in at that number. He's not on strike yet. We'll wait to have his. Mahmood bowls to McBride, who gives him a mini charge there and drives it up to long on. Takes a single. It does bring the new batsman on to strike, whose jingle I interrupted by commentator.
The idea of us being posted offshore on a boat has excited the Twitter sphere.
Has it?
David Wood says, "Gorillas do Lord of the Flies on a ship. Who are we backing to be killed first?"
I mean, it would be messy, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't
be messy. Wouldn't be messy, Jez. That's not what I meant. No. But it would be a messy situation.
It would be messy, yes. I'd be fascinated, says Jay Grover, after this ball.
Being bowled to the new batsman, Young, and he might be out for a first baller here, looking to pull it away. He's got a top edge. Who's underneath that? Is the man with the big gloves, and he spilled it. Johnny Bairstow diving away. He had run towards square leg, and you think, oh, good, it's the man with the big gloves under that. But it's also the man with the big stroppy temperament.
You silly little boy, what flipping mug are you playing at? Oh.
That gets the full array of jingles from Bear there. He made all the ground, and it was one of those ones where it was. He thought he got there, and then right at the last second he realised he had to put in another half a stride, and in doing that, I don't think he even got.
Do you know when you're playing with frisbee, and it suddenly catches a gust of wind just as you think you're ready to catch it? It was a bit like that. It just seemed to get away from him when he thought he was stood exactly where he needed to be.
How often do you play
to gain an extra bit of life? What was that, Hendo?
McBride is back on strike. This is through him. A quicker ball from Mahmood, and Johnny Bairstow takes it. Yeah, why is it that frisbees look bigger the closer they get to you? And then it hit me.
Hey, very good. Jago says, I'd be fascinated to see where Hendo would storm off to in a Mard if you were in the middle of the Atlantic. It'd be Lord of the Geriatric Flies.
I say, steady on.
Muttley says, could GC Radio take over the abandoned Mounsell forts? What are they? I don't know anything about them. Anyone know what they are? The Mounsell
forts? That's where they're like Fort Boyard and things like that, isn't it?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Is that an actual fort?
Yes.
Okay. Chris the Choir says Gorilla Offshore would be called the Hairy Celeste.
Nice.
She'd be doing the cooking in a galley.
We must make it happen. Meanwhile, it's 209 for 8 in Ireland's innings. 1 over to go, and a rather healthier total than perhaps they might have expected a couple of hours back. Young has a fortunate single to his name, having top-edged his first delivery and then been dropped by the hapless Johnny Bairstow. McBride is still there on 22.
Yeah, I think actually we saw the replay of the Johnny Bairstow catch from behind Johnny, from behind the wicket keeper. Young stood and watched that so long. I think he was trying not to laugh, and he could have got 2 runs in that time quite easily. And only picked up a single.
He's still smiling, Young. He gets a full ball outside the off stump, which is this final over being bowled by Reece Topley, and he fails to make contact, lands on the popping crease, and it's through to the keeper.
Leah, the Wicked Witch, says, I'd like you to broadcast from a boat outside the zone like John Peel. Lots of Tangerine Dream jingles, and then the inevitable bloody culling during the winter, all broadcast on YouTube. Seems to have captured the imagination.
Radio Caroline did actually sink while they were on air, didn't it? Or start sink. They all had to abandon ship mid-show.
Oh, okay.
Young on strike again. Here comes Topley around the wicket. He gets an under edge to an attempted pull this time. He doesn't look much of a batsman to me. And it's through on the bounce to Johnny B, who manages to take it relatively clean. Still 209 for 8, 4 balls left.
70s all started on Radio Caroline, didn't they? Tony Blackburn and people like that.
Yeah, Caroline or Luxembourg, one of them.
No, that was Kid Jensen. David Kid Jensen was on Radio Luxembourg.
He's got to change that nickname now, surely. He's about 70.
David Geriatric Jensen.
Topley. Round the wicket to it's a slower ball which totally flummoxes him, and he lobs it up to mid-off. It's been dropped by Topley, diving forward. Not necessarily the easiest catch in the world, but you'd expect him to take it.
You would.
And he's living a charmed life at the moment.
He's still laughing, probably. He's just playing. He's teasing the England fielders at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, it was totally done by the slower ball, wasn't he? Totally done by that.
He was through with the shot before the ball had got there.
Just dying on him. You still would expect him to take that diving forward. They're not the easiest, of course. But.
Yeah, I think he was put off by Morgan coming in from extra cover and then starting to go back at the last minute. I think that sort of he suddenly realised, it's got to be my catch, and he was a little bit too deep for it. Really.
What do you think Morgan said? Drop this and you're out of the World Cup squad. This was another huge swipe at this time by McBride. And no contact made. It's an excellent last over from England's point of view, being bowled by Topley. He's only gone for the 1 run in 4 balls, and neither batsman can get him away at all.
Yeah, this has been a really impressive return by Topley. I have to say, I think he's bowled really well. And I mean, if he can stay fit, then it's going to be a massive boost to England. Maybe not just in the one-day game, unless that's all he's going to be able to play with all his problems.
I'm guessing
a wicket to cap it off would be welcome for him.
Yeah, he would deserve one, definitely. This is a regulation ball, really, just outside the off stump on a length. McBride pulls it away to wide mid-wicket. Some more sloppy work in the outfield by Billings this time, who fails to pick it up cleanly. And the result is 2 runs. Rambo Del Potro, as I'm going to call him from now on, is walking back to his bowling mark, looking... I'm sure he's feeling glad inside, because in those long dark days when you're away from the game, you've been injured, and it's been like 1,500 and something days since he's played for England, you sort of think, is a day like this ever going to come? So even just to be involved is probably a big tick in his box. Here comes Topley, and he bowls a ball that rather follows McBride. Is he going to get that elusive wicket? I think he might get it. Yes, he is.
He has.
It was too quick for him. It whistled through him, and it took the outside edge on its way through as he was looking to play it through the onside. Johnny Bairstow does take the catch this time, and he does get his well-earned wicket, and the score finishes, because that was the last ball of the 50 overs, on 212 for 9.
Yes, indeed. Well, it was better than it might have been, not as good as it could have been. All those things, really, for Ireland. 212 for 9 in the end looks like a decent score from where they were. I'll just give you the card very quickly. and then hopefully the Bear will have something lined up for the 20-minute break that we're going to probably get. Paul Sterling caught Bantam Bob Willie for 12. Gareth Delaney was first to go. He was LBW to Willie for a duck, although he batted for 12 balls. He was trying to stick it out. Got a really good one from Willie. Andrew Balbirnie, the captain, struggled to start with. Looked like he was just getting into his stride when Vince was brought into the attack, and a short, wide ball that he was going to cut, then thought about leaving. He toe-edged it through to Bairstow. He was gone for 15. Harry Texter caught Mahmood, bowled Rashid for 28. Kevin O'Brien bowled by an absolutely beautiful googly from Rashid. He made 3 from 7 balls. Lorcan Tucker made 21, caught Topley, bowled Rashid, 3rd wicket for Rashid. Then we had Curtis Camphor, 68, caught Rashid, bowled Mahmood, just out a couple of overs from the end. Simi Singh, who provided support for him, caught Bairstow, bowled Mahmood for 25. Andy McBride was out in the end for 24, caught Bairstow, bowled Topley, gave him a wicket. And Young remained 2 not out. So 212 for 9 was the score. I'll also bring you up to date on the bowling figures. So just bear with me for a second while we wait for them to finally come through. David Woody, 10 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 48. Reece Topley, 9 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 31. Moeen Ali, 8 overs, no maidens, none for 27. James Vince, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 80. Adil Rashid, 10 overs, no maidens, 3 for 34. And Mahmood, 9 overs, no maidens, 2 for 45. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do for the next few minutes, Bear? You're the man in the hot seat.
Well, it's going to annoy messages, but
we must have something more than this. Really?
Well,
are you sure you want to put this on?
Well, the thing is, I can't play anything out from the computer. I need to restart the Wirecast computer.
Well, in that case, you're going to listen to an item, which is an interview with Warren Dutram, which is 2 years out of date now. From when we were in Malahide in 2018.
Is it that, or is it the one that Knuckle did? Because that was only early in the days of lockdown.
Oh, hold on a minute. You know what?
Hang on, which one is this?
Yeah, I can play something out of Podbean, couldn't I?
All right. Well, we're going to get a more up-to-date interview with Warren Dutram then, and we'll be back. Well, we think it's probably about 25 minutes they normally take for the break. That's what they did the other night. But just keep an eye on your tellies, your ears to your radios, your ears to your devices, and we will be back fairly soon.
Catch you in a bit.
Yep. Cheers all.
Well,
Bye.
Hold on, I haven't chosen anything.
Better wait
yet.
for the Bear. We
don't
keep the
have
Bear
it.
company.
Come on, Bear.
I'll tell you what I'll do. Why don't I run us through some county scores? Anyone interested in that? Do you think?
Yes, absolutely.
I shall
Live gorilla show.
happily do that for you. Okay, at Edgbaston, Northants were 142 all out. Warwickshire are 98 for 4, so we already have a lead of 44. At Hove, this is all of course in the Bob Willis Trophy. Hove, Sussex, they were rolled fairly cheaply, 176. Hampshire are 33 for 1 in reply. At the Oval, were due to be 2,000 or so fans in, and they were told late last night they wouldn't be in. Very sad. Middlesex are 234 for 4, century for Gubbins, for Nick Gubbins. So very well done him. Somerset, now without one part of the Overton clan, but they're 276 for 9 against Glamorgan at Taunton.
He hasn't left yet, Tony.
Okay.
He's there to the end of the season. He's
is he,
joining Surrey at the beginning of next season, from what I understand.
Well, in that case, but he's been batting. Lancashire at Worcester. Lancashire at Worcester, playing at Worcester. That's interesting. Of course they are, because Old Trafford's out of use, isn't it? Duh. 251 for 5 against Leicestershire. That's after 80 overs. Gloucestershire at home to Worcestershire. 239 for 5. Gloucestershire chose to bat in that one, going reasonably nicely. Kent chose to bat in this next one. They batted first there, 314 for 6 at Chelmsford, the Essex lair. Yorkshire are trailing Durham by 86 runs. Durham, though, only 103. So rather disappointing for them up there at Chesterley Street. 17 without loss, Yorkshire. And finally, in the East Midlands Derby, if it was Nottingham Forest and Derby County, it would be the Needle game, wouldn't it? Well, it's Notts and Derby. Derbyshire chose to field, put Notts in there, and hasn't gone especially well for them. 239 for 7, hasn't gone badly, I suppose. Are Notts. Derbyshire, of course, yet to bat. So there's your County Bob Willis Trophy roundup.
Nice one.
Well, we're ready to go. I found COVID and Beyond, the big three. Had Warren Duchamp, Tim Cutler, Emerging Cricket, and Mashall was on it. And obviously Knackle. I don't know how long it is, but it'll be longer than the break. So you're going to listen to that while I do some technically restarting shit. Okay, see you in a bit.
Cheerio.
Bye.